we should know about you as we get to know you? What do you think the 3,000 people in front of you, what's something interesting about you?
I'm not retarded, but I like rocks.
Pull up on a motherfucker, make it rain and breathe the thunder, doing this shit I was young, yeah. Fucking that bitch, she gonna suck on my dick, and you know I hit a lick.
They feel real good. I got this one.
Run, motherfucker, before I get the pistol. 10 shots at your fucking face, and don't miss ya. Run, pussy boy, yeah, you know we running down. Yeah, you know you hear the fucking sound of my 100 rounds. Bitch, I got big toys, yeah, I make big noise. Put it on the track for your bitch, she gon' spit twice. Let's have a fist fight, bitch, I'm a big guy. Pulling off the cat, yeah, I'm about to have a good night. I'm the top dealer, and I'm about to go and real man. Ain't nobody realer when I'm feeling all the milligrams. Bitch, you know I'm militant, hey, you know I'm him again. No side, shawty, when I'm chilling with your bitch again. Yo, I ain't got no fucking passport, I don't need one. Move across the water through the border for the cheese touch. Yeah, I got my money up, yeah, you got your funny up.
I got this shit outside earlier. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
bitch, it's me again, and I be rolling up the antidote. Sniffing out some snow, and I ain't got the time to buy some more. Bitch, you know I got the purple drink, and it got me fucked. Hennessy in my fucking veins, yeah, I touch my luck. Coming up on that bitch, I'm finna break her fucking back out. Picking that bitch up in the air, I hit that like it's smacked out. So when I shift from the hip, don't trip, you hit break like some bounce out. Smoking the stuff in the middle, I hit him, quick, I bring the pounds out. Okay, wait, pussy motherfucker, why you coming in my area? Bitch, you know that I be jumping, I ain't scared of them. Open up a pint of dirty, and I'm finna air this bitch. And it's only 7:30, and you know I'm tearing shit. I got what you need, I be sipping on that lean, yeah. And I am a fiend, sipping on promethazine, yeah. Bitch, I'm hella clean, yeah, I feel like Mr. Clean. Chillin' with your bitch, and then I take her by the dirty D's. Bitch, I'm at the fucking area, I'm about to blaze it up. And I'm smoking on hysteria, I'm pulling up. I'm shooting the clip, and I'm running away, and you know that I'm getting a 200 pay. I'm pretty sippity, sip poppin' shit, positivity, tippity, tip top of shit. Breaking the formula, yeah, you know that I be getting it, going, I put it to motion. Fucking that bitch, and you know that I'm boasting, and toasting, I'm boasting up on the whole shit.
You're just another ordinary rapper, just trying to make another man.
I'ma run that pussy down, he ain't doing shit. And I got your bitch, why she all over my dick? I'ma run that pussy down, he ain't doing shit.
You stay inside most of the time, but you don't seem to mind. Why don't you come outside and see what it's like? I think you'll find that the weather is nice. You come get a drink, it's not as bad as you think. You could get sick, but you'll be fine. Wake up around 9, then you do it
Hello, everybody. I hope you're ready for a nice little smoke break with yours truly.
You can't seem to find the meaning to life. I think it's hiding behind something that you're trying to climb, but you're wasting your time. You're a little behind, and you can't rewind, but it's not too late.
Oh my God. Isn't this weird? Oh, look, I gotta work on that volume control. Isn't this a little bit strange? Elias Live, Lost Ox Live. I'd like to thank you all for joining me. I see Chris Chappelle in there. How do you say that? Capella? Chappella? Japella? I do not know, okay? This is gonna be a little bit of a more lax thing, right? We're kind of just like hanging out. It's just a smoke break, you know? Just gonna hang out, watch a couple videos. You know, we got a little bit of Elephant Graveyard later. I've never watched Elephant Graveyard. So for anyone, you know, who cares to see some, why don't you watch a little bit with me? You know, before we get into that, We'll be getting into like, just hanging out, smoking a doob, maybe scrolling through some Twitter, seeing what the world's up to and stuff like that. I'm basically going to like do this little test live stream to give the tens of people listening to this show a little more insight as to like, how I come across the topics I come across. Maybe you have questions that you want to ask me in the chat. You can't see it right here, but if you look at this, look, you see that? I got the chat right here. You guys talk to me. I'm seeing this shit in real time, baby. Real motherfucking time. We got sound effects and everything. I hope the audio sounds all right. This is the first time we're doing it live. I usually edit the audio a little bit for the show. So, it's not the first time I'm going live, but it's been a while, it's been a while. So I'm just waiting for this music to cut off right here. And then we could just start like, scrolling through some Twitters or something like that, right? Oh man. Let's stop that music for a little bit. All right, so I hope everybody's doing just fine. I see 2 people in here. Elephant Graveyard is definitely goated from what I hear, Mr. Chris Capella. I hear good things about Elephant Graveyard. I've just never watched Elephant Graveyard. So I'm excited to get into a little bit of that with you guys a little later. For now, like I said, we're just kind of hanging out, just kind of feeling the vibes a little bit, We're just kind of a bullshitting, if you will, I got my Twitter feed open here. I'm just ready to check out what's happening in this Twitterverse, Let's see what's happening right here. Look at this. Right out the gate, we are fucking blessed with some good old homestyle cooking from Miss Anissa Joma. Give it up. Let's give it up for Anissa Joma. You guys familiar with this Anissa Joma? I hope you guys aren't. But in case you want to know, this is iDubbbz's wife, Anissa Joma, this one. And it's crazy because these 2 creators, as far as I can tell, are like spiraling almost harder than I've ever seen any 2 creators spiral in my entire life. Between the creator clash bullshit that good old Ethan Klein's been covering out the ass, right?
I'd be a pedophile for 20 million.
It's like Ethan Klein's sitting there on these guys' asses ever since they ended up like completely flopping the second or 3rd creator clash. Ethan just won't let these guys live it down. And I'm not going to lie, it kind of sticks, all the criticism that Ethan's given these guys. It sticks because like they ended up doing this like charity style event, but then they kept like 30% of the money. Then the event flopped. They handed ownership off to some other company to just try to wipe their hands clean of it all. But then no fighters got paid. Then the event got canceled. It's just like a whole big thing. Now Ethan's making fun of fucking iDubbbz for streaming to like 500 people, right? Compared to Ethan's fucking 30,000. It's a big difference in numbers, right? I don't necessarily blame Ethan for making. We're only getting 32 views according to Luis J. Gomez over here. Okay, so I'd be happy to get 500 of you in here. Tell your friends. But aside from that point, one of the things that Ethan's always making fun of iDubbbz for in these live streams is Anissa's like hand will just come in from out of frame, and she'll just give iDubbbz like a fucking like a bagel with like a little dollop of jelly. And iDubbbz treats it as if it's like the best home cooked meal he's ever fucking had in his entire life. And I as soon as you open up Twitter, it's the first thing I have to see is Anissa's fucking shit cooking. I thought that this was a baking tray with like weed in it. Like that's legitimately what I thought this was for a second. I legitimately thought this was just weed covering the top of some apples, which would have actually made this edible. It kind of looks like she did this with like cheap granola or some shit like that. Some cheap ass apple crumbs the bitch finds online. Good old Anissa Joma, man. I feel it for these guys. Because iDubbbz is like on the cusp of not being rich, right? So like as soon as that happens, you can bet your fucking sweet ass Anissa Joma is going to be out of here. Look, Hassan Piker talking political talk. And of course, look, I like this account right here. This account, for those of you who don't know, this is not Ethan Klein. Like I find this to be hilarious. And it's funny. It's even funnier to me because this account started from a joke that Ethan Klein started. Give it up.
I'd be a pedophile for 20 million.
See how it says Ethan Klein, host of the H3 podcast, and then at the end it says parody. This is a fucking brilliant move. For those of you who don't know, this is a brilliant move right here, okay? Because what it does is it ends up making your name so long that it gets cut off on the ass end. So then anybody looking, watching, seeing the comments that you're throwing out there in the world are it's going to be seeming as if it's coming from the actual person. Now, this is something Ethan Klein actually started. He did this shit when Elon Musk decided to say, like, oh, you can buy a check mark on Twitter, right? You can buy a check mark on Twitter. Isn't that crazy? And now that's a thing on Instagram, too, and Facebook. You can just buy your check marks now, you know? And it's funny. They give you this promise of, like, hey, man, look, they're trying to do it to me right now. They're trying to do it to me right now. Twitter's trying to get me to buy a fucking check mark. This is some bullshit. And they're telling me to get verified like this H3 Producatones. It's not even, Productions isn't even spelled right in this. It's Producatones. Okay? But like I said, Ethan started this. Elon Musk sits there and fucking opens the floodgates on the goddamn check mark, right? The first thing Ethan does is makes a parody account and ends up getting the account blocked by Elon Musk himself. But this Ethan Klein, H3 Producatones account is still alive and kicking. And isn't this funny? The only famous person following this goddamn account is Howie Mandel. Howie Mandel, and this guy loves it. He's reveling in this. Howie Mandel probably actually thinks that this is actually Ethan Klein. It wouldn't surprise me if Ethan Klein's just getting random-ass phone calls and text messages from Howie Mandel like, hey, man, are you all right? Like, what is it exactly that you're doing over there at the Producatones? But every single time anybody who's involved with an H3 beef and Ethan Klein beef, this account is up there stirring up all sorts of shit on Twitter. And you, like, sometimes when the posts really hit, when the tweets really fucking tweet, you see people in there arguing as if this is actually Ethan Klein. This is the funniest shit to me. And, of course, we get a good old meme of Hassan Piker shocking his dog. It's a meme like that makes me wish I had that fucking Red Bar soundbite that when he hits it, it like electrocutes people and goes like, blah, 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 blah. Only Red Bar soundbite I got is this one. Because we copy everything from Red Bar, if you didn't know. You know, I don't know about you, but I've never seen Red Bar scroll no Twitter. Okay? Not like I am. Let's listen and see. How's Alex Stein roasting these sluts? Damn, those are some big... Dude, those are some tig old biddies, I'm not going to lie. This roast better be good, because if it's not good, then I'm going to come and find Alex Stein and hunt him down, you know, for the glory of this woman. In case you're wondering, for the glory of the woman. All right, let's listen to Alex Stein roast some sluts.
I'm Taylor. I'm 18. I'm from Northern California, and I'm a helicopter mechanic.
Am I the only
Wait,
one
hold
scared
up.
as hell? You are
Hold up. This bitch is 18? This bitch is 18. She doesn't look a day over 47. This is actually insane to me that this girl is 18 years old. And this is what this shit does. Look, she's a helicopter mechanic, right? It's not OnlyFans. It's way more respectable than OnlyFans. I will give it that. This is way more respectable than OnlyFans. I still think it's the wrong profession for her. And this is why. It's clearly sucking the soul out of this bitch. Look at this. She looks like a middle-aged country star right now. She looks like Shania Twain or some shit. Or is that how you say it? Is that who I'm talking about? Shania Twain? She looks like Dolly Parton in her 30s. I without the tits. You know, the other girl's got the tits on the other side of the table.
And I'm a helicopter mechanic.
Am I the only one? That's scary as hell. You are working on helicopters, and we're just not going to make that a big deal. I mean, I don't want them. I mean, flying them is bad enough. You're working on them? Is that real?
Yeah.
Is your dad like a mechanic or something?
My dad actually used to work there. But
Okay, see, that kind of makes me feel a little better. Because I'm a pimp on a blimp. I go on
Yeah, Alex is like, it makes me feel a little better knowing that your dad used to beat the shit out of you with the wrenches that he used to use to work on the helicopters. He goes, now it makes it, you know, it makes me live a little easier. I might be able to get on a helicopter now, knowing that you were heavily abused as a child. knowing that your dad, you know, he jammed his profession so deep into your mind because he was lonely and he didn't want to do it by himself. So I'm happy that he did that to you so that these helicopters run smooth. Because this girl looks like she can't even, like, helicopters probably got bolts on them that are like the size of cereal bowls and shit, right? Imagine this girl trying to pick up a bolt the size of a fucking softball, and she has to screw this thing onto a goddamn I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating. Helicopters probably have very normal-sized bolts on them. But you understand what I'm saying. Alex seems a little worried.
Helicopters. And no offense. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't want a female pilot, much less a female mechanic. I haven't even thought about that layer of it. Well, come on, you guys like female pilots? Listen, let's just be real for a second. You guys, when you walk on the plane, you don't feel a little better when it's a white guy compared to like a woman that could be on her cycle and, or just got dumped by her boyfriend, is emotional. And
Dude, that girl with the tits looks like she could fly away right now. She looks like a female pilot. She looks like a female pilot because she looks like she has 2 hot air balloons. And like you could just grab onto her ankle and just float off into the air. You know what I mean? That's what I see when I see these tig old biddies. Let's give it up for Alex Stein. I'm not even going to lie. I don't even want to hold anyone too much longer because I'm just getting to the point of realizing I got this elephant graveyard pulled up right here. Trust me, Chris, we're getting to it. I promise you. But these elephant graveyards, they're longer than fuck, dude. They're longer than fuck. I've never watched Elephant Graveyard, and I'm starting to think that there's a reason why. I know my show is like 2 hours long. Oh, Dark Cake 99. It has been a while, huh? Well, I'm happy to see you here. Look at that. And look, have you ever been here and I'm talking to you in real goddamn time? I'm talking to you right now, okay? Give it up for me. Tell all your friends. Tell all your friends. You go, it's a decent show. It's somewhat decent. It's not that popular. And he goes live every now and then. So, you have that to look forward to. But he's just going to throw it at you at a random day. But back to this elephant graveyard shit, right? These things are longer than fuck. So I can't be live for the next 4 hours, right? So we're just going to hop right into the elephant graveyard. We're going to dig ourselves a grave, so to speak, I guess, right? How gay is that? Dig ourselves a grave, dude. What the hell kind of shit is that? You're going to catch me on Elephant Graveyard one of these days. Hack comedian Elias Marino, former podcast host of Lost Ox Media. He joined the Rogan Sphere. All right. My first time watching Elephant Graveyard, okay? So for those of you who are here, bear with me, because this is all new to me.
Well, all that comedy investigation into the rise of the comedy czar's hell world was exhausting. I had to get the hell out of there. So I've been out at my cabin just trying to think about something else for a change. Problem is...
Ooh, I forgot. This is the smoke break, okay? This is a smoke break, okay? So, hey, Dark Cake, you call it sketchy because I answered you in real time? Okay. See if that ever happens again, yeah? I turn my back on you. I turn my back on you. If you got him, smoke him. This is the Lost Ox Media live smoke break. We're just hanging out here, okay? So let's get into some Elephant Graveyard.
There's no free will, and I don't really get to choose what to think about. Been thinking about a lot of different things, but seems like for every question I try to answer, I end up with 10 more. It's getting ridiculous. But mostly the question that still haunts me every day is, how did comedy get so shit? Was it ever...
Yo, these ads are some of the most awkward shit in the world. Like, now they're making fucking Tony and Red Band throw Heidi in the mix of the goddamn ads. And she just sits there and goes like... and just tries to, like, look nice the whole time, right? It's the most awkward fucking thing. Because they make these guys read, like, fucking ads for, like, 45 fucking minutes. So this girl just has to sit back there in a bra as if she's, like, a kid. This is like a BTK victim, right? Bound him, torture him, kill him. And she just has to sit there like a fucking hostage in a bra while they go, Tecovas are the most comfy shoe in the world. Tony wouldn't be caught dead in a fucking pair of Tacovas.
Good? Why the hell do I even know who this guy is? And why for a moment, before my brain kicks in, does it seem normal that he's hanging out inside that sacred space at the center of the comedy universe? The comedy mothership green room.
How hard we laugh in that green room. And
It's the most fun.
the best thing about the green room is how restrictive it is.
Oh yeah, I love
You know, that
restrictions.
you just can't go in there. You know, you got to earn that spot in the treehouse, you know. And so anytime you open the door, you'll see, you know, some of the best comics alive. You know, that's
Jordan Peterson sitting in there. Anytime you go in that green room, you're going to see some of the best comics alive, man. Joe, we hooting and hollering. We're all so goddamn rich. And we're all so exclusive, Joe. Isn't it crazy how all 10 million of these people are going to listen to us talk about how we're in a club that they'll never get in? But we'll let faggots like Jordan Peterson in. Isn't that fucking crazy, Joe? Ron White is the biggest bitch. I don't know if you like Ron White, you got something wrong. You might be a redneck. If you like Ron White, you might be a redneck.
our little space, man, and it is the greatest thing on earth.
It's just impossible to make sense of anything going on here. And I can't help but feel like I must be living on another planet. I needed guidance. You know that our cerebral comedy guru, David Lucas, once told us that after his shows...
I hope the audio's good. Let me know if it's not.
My jokes are very cerebral. So if you come to my show, I might say a lot of crazy shit.
Chris, I'm counting on you.
Home, you're going to be thinking a lot.
And his wisdom is kind of what sparked this whole investigation.
David Lucas, you're going to be thanking. You're going to be thanking and you're going to be stanking. Yo, David Lucas is the craziest looking dude, he looks like a caricature from like an old racist fucking comic or something like that. He looks like something that you'd snip out of like a newspaper from like 1884 or 1770, so whatever time the slaves were from.
At home, you're going to be thinking.
You're going to be thanking.
You come to my show, I might say a lot of crazy shit. But on your drive home, you're going to be thinking a lot.
And his wisdom is kind of what sparked this whole investigation into the comedy world, but I knew I needed to start thinking even more. So I wanted to go out and see David's act, and hopefully start to try and put all these disordered puzzle pieces together, to understand what's really going on at the heart of it all. Now, there's a lot of great stages out there, but for me, my favorite venue in the entire world, hands down, is a legendary Massey Hall in Toronto. Its stage has been graced by the presence of the most iconic, influential, and beloved artists of multiple generations. Gordon Lightfoot, Oscar Peterson,
A little louder, you
Charlie
got it.
Parker, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Patsy Cline, Bob Dylan, Ella Fitzgerald,
Give it up for Chris.
Aretha Franklin, Rush. Now, I don't know who any of these people are, but my dad says they're very important. I even saw my first ever stand-up comedy show there, Jerry Seinfeld.
God, imagine Jerry Seinfeld being the first stand-up comedy show you ever see. Because in the moment, Jerry was probably somebody worth watching because he was relevant from his show or something, right? Isn't it crazy, like, hindsight is 20/20? That's, like, such a real goddamn statement. It's like, you go to see a guy like Jerry Seinfeld, right? And then he turns out to grow old and be the biggest fucking cuck you've ever seen grace a comedy stage. And you go, God damn it. Like, that just ruined that nostalgic moment for me.
When I was just a wee lad. It's the oldest and most iconic venue in Canada, and performing there has long been considered a landmark
Ew, Elephant Graveyard is Canadian? What the fuck?
event in one's career. And finally, in 2025, the strength of her stage's mythical hardwood planks would truly be put to the test, as the killers of Kill Tony, including massive comedy success David Lucas,
I'll put my hand in my ass and make you smell it.
would be taking the stage for what promised to be a wonderful comedy event. So I watched the show. When it was over, you know what? He was right. I was thinking a lot. I was thinking about how bizarre it was that these low-level, no offense, but subhuman cretins were able to perform at such a hallowed theater, wondering perhaps if I was the fool for giving the venue such reverence all these years.
Look, I understand that all the comics that he just talked about suck ass, and this might be a cool theater and everything. It's in Canada. Like, this guy's talking about this shit as if it's the comedy mother job. It ain't, right? What is it? This ain't the Cellar in New York. I don't even know a good venue. Isn't that fucked up?
I pictured the ghosts of all my heroes, standing on stage behind David, shaking their heads, not at David, but at themselves, for being such fools, for thinking that making it to that iconic stage had meant something to them, that it meant something about their career, their art, and about the legacy they've left behind after they died. Poor Gord. I hated to see that. Seeing David's show only made me feel more confused about what the hell is going on.
Look, that's like a David Lucas's slave master upset because it's Juneteenth and David just found out he's free to go.
Seeing David's show only made me feel more confused about what the hell is going on with all this comedy stuff. And on that drive home, I really was thinking, why does everything that ever seemed good, like when I was a kid, now seems to be rapidly deteriorating into utter shit?
What did I just say?
And when I looked around at the other people in attendance at that show, evidently enjoying themselves, why did it feel like I was in another dimension? I tried putting a comedy podcast on, but all of them were just interviews with like the CIA or the FBI or some other guy that works for the president. Like, what the hell was actually going on here? I couldn't relax until I figured it out in my...
Dude, this guy is actually spot the fuck on. I'm not gonna lie. This guy is spot the fuck on. Every single time you turn on like Theo Vaughn this past weekend, Joe Rogan, which surprisingly enough, for those of you, I know this is shocking, JRE is actually a comedy podcast. That's the genre that it's listed under. It's a comedy podcast, right? I haven't seen a comedian on there in fucking, I don't even know how long. Every single time I turn on Joe Rogan, it's like some lesbian teacher from Harvard or some weird fucking nerd astrophysicist that nobody's heard of except for Joe. And then he makes all 10 million of us swallow it. It's insane. Same thing. This guy is like so spot on. Everyone. This past weekend, Tim Dillon, Andrew Schultz just had fucking Mandami on. Or whatever the hell that communist name from New York is. Apparently he's like a communist, but he's a Muslim. And I don't know. There's so much shit going on. I don't even care about New York. If you actually care about New York City, like, that's insane to me. And I'm from the tri-state area. I'm from New Jersey, goddammit. It almost doesn't get any worse than New Jersey. And I still don't give a fuck about New York.
The CIA or the FBI or some other guy that works for the president. Like, what the hell was actually going on here? I couldn't relax until I figured it out. In my quest for clarity, I even, and I'm ashamed to admit this, but I even went on the sacred pilgrimage to Comedy Mecca and visited the Comedy Spaceship down in Austin, Texas.
Ooh, I love that place.
Paid about $800 for a ticket. My ticket said something about a mandatory drink, but I'd lost the stub and couldn't remember how many I was dictated to have. The vibe in there was so tense, I thought I might get literally shot in the head if I did anything wrong, so I drank about 8 Negronis just to be safe. I went to find the washroom, and when I got there, to my dismay, I discovered...
Imagine going to a comedy show. And you can't even relax because every single fucking security guard in there looks like they're ready to fucking kill Saddam Hussein. Isn't that crazy? This wouldn't surprise me if this was actually Joe's fucking goddamn club on the inside. It's insanity. Even the comedians will tell you about this. We were talking about Jordan Jensen, her appearance on JRE recently. And she's sitting there talking about how, like, the second the comedians get in the club, they're getting escorted by fucking Navy SEALs to the green room who are ready to just fucking give them smelling salts and shit. It's like, how are you supposed to relax in that kind of environment? And then you're supposed to laugh? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Joe's club actually had, like, you know, one of those laugh lights that like, you hear about on TV shows or something like that? And it turns on and the audience has to go, ah. It wouldn't surprise me if that was actually in Joe's club. If he actually had a laugh light and it was powered by the craziest looking Navy SEAL you've ever seen. So you felt like you had no choice but to laugh, right?
Discovered that Joe, the comedy czar, had actually removed his own special from the Comedy Wall of Fame that he put up there. Maybe he just got embarrassed after we pointed it out, but I think it's the first sign that he knows his scheme is at risk of being exposed and he's begun to hide his tracks.
My mother.
But anyway, I watched the show. It was, fine, I guess. But, it really couldn't compare to the pleasure I experienced releasing those 8 Negronis into the toilet pipe. The armed guards at the door stole my phone and placed it in a locked bag, so I wasn't allowed to take any more photos. So I sat there drawing a picture of what I was witnessing on the free napkin that came with my Negronis. Now we've been getting a lot of feedback saying that we are very negative, so here's something positive about the experience. The show is only a couple hours long, which for $800 is insane, but it's so boring that it feels like it's about 5 or 6 hours, so that improves the value at least. As you walk into the room, you're reminded of 2 of the most horrific acts of brutality ever committed. Which is good because when you're thinking about what happens when an atomic bomb blows up over your head, it makes the terrible show you're witnessing seem like an okay alternative. No idea who the comics were. Who cares? They were shit. And of course they were, we already knew that. What we want to...
At least one of them is funny. Which one of them's funny? Which one of them's funny, Dark Cake? You tell me. I need to know. Because if you know something I don't, please enlighten a brother. That's all I'm saying. Which one was funny? Do you think, what is that? William Montgomery is funny? You like William Montgomery? Mr. Dark Cakes 99.
Find out is why or how. But, the vibe was very bad in there, very negative, and so I got the hell out of there and began walking.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Roseanne Barr is fucking funny, bro. The shit that comes out of Roseanne's mouth is pretty goddamn funny. I will give you that.
Down 6th Street, where a horde of scary, methed-out ghouls began to oogle me, which, compared to the vibe in the comedy Spaceship, was honestly much more welcoming. And that's when I saw it. In the alleyway behind the mothership, a flock of comedy pilgrims had gathered, lining up. They told me they had traveled from all over the country for their chance to win 1 minute of stage time there. Their opportunity to climb the ladder to a higher tier class of human. A real comedian. I couldn't believe how many of them there were. They were all over the place, living in their cars, in tents. So many comedy pilgrims, everywhere, just taking over the entire area.
Dude, Elephant Graveyard is fucking... He's describing the scariest movie I've ever fucking heard in my life. Different kind of funny. Okay, I get it now. Because when you saw Ari Matty with his ass in the air and he was fucking giving himself the fucking... You know what I mean? Okay, that's the kind of funny that you're talking about. Because I peeped that shit too. Okay. We're cool now. Thank you. No, but dude, Elephant Graveyard is legitimately describing the scariest movie I've ever heard in my entire life. The way he's describing the alley behind the goddamn comedy mothership. And fucking, I could imagine on a Sunday.
And I started thinking about how the hell all these people ended up here. Started thinking about human migration. Like, how did you end up where you are? No matter who or where you are, at some point, some guy in your lineage looked around and said to himself, I gotta get out of here. Packed up and went to a new place. And with that spirit in mind, I packed my bags and headed home. When I got back to my cabin, I placed a photo of my guru above my typewriter with a sign that said, "Keep thanking." And that's what I did for several weeks.
I'm so fucking scared right now. I'm so scared. Look at the David Lucas, dude. Keep thanking. Dude, I'm so scared right now. Oh, what's the Elephant Graveyard got for us, bro? I'm even getting cold, dude, just thinking about what's going to happen next. Who's that at the bottom? Who the fuck is that? That's got me thinking.
Obsessively, compulsively, and it led me to discover what's actually going on behind all this unsettling comedy stuff. And that we were right to find it so unsettling.
Legit.
And evil and vile. And that what we're witnessing with this Austin comedy thing is actually part of a massive operation designed to destroy the entire world. And I know that sounds kind of out there, but as you'll see, that's actually part of their design. I thank my comedy guru David for helping me get my thinking back on track. Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha.
Hey, chill, bro. Chill with all that shit.
To answer the question of how comedy got so shit, we need to go back about 375 million years.
Damn.
To the first of those migrations we mentioned earlier.
Started that long ago? Holy shit, dude. Are you guys smoking? You guys better be smoking. This is The Smoke Break at Lost Docs Media. All 4 of you are awesome.
Migration is baked into our DNA, guys. I don't know if you knew that in advance, but I am seeing on my YouTube analytics here that 87% of you only got your grade 10. So, in case you weren't aware, humans began as simple tubes, a mouth and an asshole. Purest form of a proper organism, just floating in the ocean somewhere, and eventually that tube evolved into this fish kind of thing. And this fish, this was the first in our lineage to become a new guy and to migrate. The ocean where he was all fucked up, and he looked around and said, I gotta get the hell out of here. And he migrated out of the water and onto the land, becoming a land guy. He then somehow transformed into a little rat kind of thing with nipples. And the nipple rat evolved into like a monkey chimp thing or whatever. And then the chimp or ape or whatever, it became a human guy. And it wasn't long until those human guys like that fish before.
That's my theory of Joe Rogan. Like, in case you were wondering, that's always been the theory of Joe Rogan that I've had. Well, it's always been the theory that I've had for the last 3 years. It's always been. I've always had this theory that Joe is like a genetically modified monkey that like just evolved just a little bit too much. But he's not like full human, which is why he's so curious. Because monkeys are fucking stupid curious. They're like cats, right? So you think he evolved like just enough to talk. He's like one of those apes from Planet of the Apes. I feel like Joe is like that. This is what I feel.
It became a human.
That was Joe Rogan right there.
And then the chimp, or
that's Joe Rogan. Same height as Joe Rogan too, in case you were wondering.
Ape or whatever, it became a human guy. And it wasn't long until those human guys like that fish before them looked around and said, I gotta get the hell out of here. And they migrated to every corner of the earth. A lot of animals have these built-in mechanisms. We are no different. Just like how birds have like a magnet in their brain or something, which tells them when and where to migrate somewhere else. It's obvious from these historical records that the human instinct to say, fuck this, I gotta get out of here, becomes activated in times of fear. Fear is processed in the most ancient part of our brain. It puts us into a fight or flight mode, just like the fish guy. And I don't know if you've looked around at the world lately, but people really are losing their shit. The whole world is on fire. There are crazy guys with nukes yelling at each other, and bombs are flying around all over the place. The air is full of smoke. All the fruit just tastes like wood now. We've all got microplastics in our brains. That can't be good. Plus, it's so hot out, I'm gonna piss myself. And don't even get me started on all those politics. What the hell is going on with TikTok?
This is all Joe Rogan's fault. This whole fucking thing he's explaining right. I feel like that's what he's going to say. That this is all Joe Rogan's fault.
Why is China doing all that stuff? Why did they close the oatmeal plant down? I wanted to keep working there. Now I got no money. I got to pay MSRP for my steel cut. Bullshit, man. You know what? And then he says it. Ah, f this, I got to get out of here. Except this time, they've got nowhere to go. Not physically, anyway. But lucky for them, some of humanity's most powerful visionaries, the techno-wizards, have constructed a psychic ark to sail the seas of your mind and take you away from your problems and out onto a new frontier. A new reality. And here's where it gets crazy. It's a reality where there is no such thing as reality.
Lions.
The techno-wizards use their machines to ramp up your own uncertainty about what's real and what's fantasy.
I'm not gonna lie, this shit is so much crazier than I thought it would be. I thought this was gonna be like fucking video essays of like, you know what I'm talking about. Who are some of the guys that do that bullshit? Like, you think like Magnates Media, Moon is another one that does these goddamn video essays. This Atozi guy, you know, like I'm thinking like Turkey Tom. You ever see this Turkey Tom guy? Jesus fucking Christ. I thought this was gonna be like that. I'm not going to lie to you. This is like so much better than I thought it was going to be. I could watch an hour and a half of this.
To the point where you're so anxious that you do anything just to be certain.
No. It's all overphonics and sonics and dimensional superaction behind glass screens. You know, if you think of something and bam, it's there in the wall.
Once you've lost connection with classic reality, you're just a guy floating out in the open ocean. Desperate to find something to grab onto to save yourself, stranded and surrounded by a sea of danger. That is when the techno-wizards begin their most perverted sorcery.
Future is gonna be amazing.
They throw you a life preserver in the form of a new world, a new virtual world. In this virtual world, you're still going to be angry all the time, but at least you'll be certain, and that feels good. And because it feels so good, you just want to stay in there forever, until eventually you've been in there so long that your new virtual world feels more real than your old classic reality. And once it's become more convincing than classic reality, it just becomes your new reality.
All right, this shit's starting to get
Congratulations,
boring.
you've migrated to a new place. It's a new reality, except it's anti-reality. It's what's called a hyper-real simulacrum.
There we go. I was just saying how good this shit was, and then it just got boring as fuck for like the last 30 seconds. Hyper-realism simulacrum. What the fuck did he just call that? And now I'm in. Now I'm fucking in. This is what I'm talking about. What is these hyper-realistic simulacrum? And I'm sitting here one joint deep, and you're gonna fucking hit me with that shit?
It's anti-reality. It's what's called a hyper-real simulacrum.
A hyper-real simulacrum.
The battle for the mind of North America
Okay.
will be fought in the video.
I'm back.
Yeah.
The television screen is the retina of the mind's eye. Therefore, the television screen is part of the physical structure of the brain. Therefore, whatever appears on the television screen emerges as raw experience for those who watch it.
Yep.
Therefore, television is reality.
Yep, exactly.
And reality is less than television.
There are a lot of visionaries in this world, all with their own ideas about creating new worlds into which we can migrate. But only a few have acquired the wealth and influence to actually execute such migrations at full scale. Movements triggered by everyone saying, "I gotta get the hell out of here," happen all the time. Throughout history, wealthy, influential people have leveraged these waves in order to serve their interests, using their power to direct migrants in or out.
Was that Ari Matty? That one black and white looked like Ari Matty.
In order to serve their interests.
Wait, hold up.
Using their power to direct.
There we go. Look at that. That's motherfucking Ari Matty right there. Let me find out Ari Matty's a time traveler, bro. Television is reality. Yeah, Ari Matty. Let me find out Ari Matty's a goddamn time traveler. This person's that. This person's shoving gerbils up his ass to get all these guys back here laughing. He's doing that, bend down in the front, finger in the back, back and forward type shit.
Migrants in or out of places beneficial to fulfilling their goals. Someone we've seen exploiting the "I gotta get the hell out of here" phenomenon is this Elon guy. He was bullied a ton as a kid because he was a strange, scrawny little weak guy who could also be a bit of a dickhead. And so his teachers, his parents, nobody wanted to help him.
Did you have a happy childhood?
No, it's terrible.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why was it terrible? You were bullied at school and had a
I was
different...
almost beaten to death, if you'd call that bullied.
I've never seen these clips of Elon Musk. This explains so much, bro. No wonder he wants to go to Mars. Nobody can bully you on Mars. If you're like the one getting everybody there, everybody has to listen to you. I saw this reel or like this TikTok the other day. It was talking about how Elon Musk is like the smartest guy in the world because he's like digging all these tunnels with the Boring Company. He's doing all this AI shit with like Tesla and building robots and stuff, and how it's all like this big infrastructure plan for like when he gets to Mars. Because you can't ship a bunch of people to Mars, but you could ship an assload of robots, right? And like people can't build shit out there, but robots don't need the air, right? So the robots could just go out there and build it. And it seemed like it tracked for a little bit, right? It's like when I was watching it, I was like, holy shit, Elon Musk is like the fucking smartest guy that I've ever seen in my entire life. The whole time that I'm watching this TikTok for about 1 minute and 38 seconds. And then as soon as the TikTok's done, I open Twitter and Elon Musk has tweeted some of the dumbest shit that you've ever seen in your entire life. That's where it gets me. It's like everybody talks about how smart this guy is. He's never not tweeting something on Twitter. And it's never not the craziest, dumbest shit that you've ever heard in your entire life.
He was shy and awkward at school, didn't have many friends.
On one occasion, Elon was pushed down a flight of stairs and beaten violently, leaving him in hospital for weeks.
And if that wasn't bad enough, and this is something you'll see with almost all of these anti-reality guys, Elon had a very bad dad who left him with a dad-shaped hole in his soul.
Very violent. It was not a happy childhood. My father has serious issues.
When Elon received that severe beating as a kid, his father berated him and blamed him for it. Made him stand for hours, called him an
Elon's
idiot, and
PR
told him he was
is
worthless.
really, really
Proper
bad.
dad stuff. All these experiences made Elon internalize the belief that this world is a scary...
See, that's the thing is I don't even think Elon has PR. That's what I'm saying. It's like you can't have bad PR if the shit just don't even exist. Like that's honestly how I feel. I feel like when it has to do with like the face of it, like he's obviously the face of his companies. Nobody's denying that. But when it comes to like anything that they're doing public facing or any type of marketing, I feel like that stuff he's not involved in. But when it comes to that motherfucker's Twitter account, I feel like PR companies are fucking lighting his inbox up, dude, with emails, dude. They're like, please let us get a hold of that shit because you are just going wide open with the shit right now.
Dangerous place. Wouldn't it be nice to just get the hell out of here? Well, later in life, he acquired an immense amount of wealth and immediately began to use it to try and reconstruct reality, to cope. He put heaps of that money into trying to build this Mars colony thing, which is never going to happen. But that doesn't matter. The real point of his Martian cope is creating a virtual reality to migrate to.
Yo, Elon Musk really was the biggest fuck. Well, he is the biggest nerd. But look at this. This
The real
is like
point of his Martian cope.
That's the nerdiest fucking guy I've ever seen in my entire life, bro. That's the nerdiest fucking guy I've ever seen in my entire life. He's like, I almost got beaten to death as a child. Like you know how there's like those stereotypes in like high school movies and shit where people are like getting like stuffed in lockers and stuff like that. And like, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up in high school, the lockers were so goddamn skinny. Ain't nobody fucking getting stuffed in those goddamn things. And if they did, I mean, they actually might die. I'm not going to lie. You'd probably die if you somehow got stuffed in one of these goddamn lockers. He is like the embodiment of this stereotype. Like, I could see somebody fitting his ass in a locker and it being like real. He's like the actually getting swirlies. Like I never met anybody who got a goddamn swirly growing up. You always saw it in like movies and kid shows, right? On like Nickelodeon and stuff. He's actually getting swirly. Like that's the type of guy he is. Like it or hate it, this is the human physique. Yo, Elon Musk's his fucking box chest is second to none. I mean, you ever see that picture of him? Look at this. I'm happy you brought that up, Mr. Dark Cakes, that Elon Musk on a boat, bro, is insane, bro. Look at this bullshit. Look, this is before AI, folks. You can't make this one up. You can't make that one up. Look at that. I mean, Photoshop exists, but I'm pretty sure that was a real photo. Look at this one, too. Oh, shit. I didn't know we were going to go all out and get fucking whatever this fat sack of shit was. Is that Elon Musk, too? Hell no, I didn't mean to open all these goddamn tabs. Get this shit out of here. I just wanted to see this one. There you go. I like this picture. This is what I picture when I see Elon Musk. I picture this. And he even moves like that. You ever see him like when he's like on stage trying to dance or something like that? Or he does, what was the picture with him and Trump? And he's like jumping in the air trying to get this like fucking like Breakfast Club like moment, right? And he got it on camera. Like somebody actually snapped a photo of him in the air, mid-air, just like the end of like Breakfast Club or whatever that fucking movie was, right? He's doing that. Don't you forget about me. And Trump is looking behind it. He's like, this fucking retard is going to fuck up my goddamn election. If it wasn't for him giving me so much goddamn money, I would have already kicked his ass out of here by now. Hooks him up with Doge. Next thing you know, Elon Musk is on fucking Twitter talking about how Donald Trump is the biggest pedophile the world has ever seen. You know? That's heavy shit. That's heavy shit. And you can't have a PR. If you're doing all that, the PR don't exist. I'm sorry.
Is creating a virtual reality to migrate to. One where this colony thing would actually be feasible and he could actually escape the Earth and live on another planet. And that gives him hope that he could actually get the hell out of here. All this crap here, this is all just for Elon to fantasize about getting the hell out of here. Nobody is going to Mars, man.
Bro, I'm skipping ahead. I'm looking at the scrub bar, dude. There's like fucking 4 more minutes of talking about Elon Musk. What does this have to do with any of the fucking comedians? Listen, bro. I'm here to talk about Joe Rogan. I'm here, Ron White, David Lucas, William Montgomery. I'm here to talk about them. Who's the other one? The one that's like this, that's like Martin Phillips. I'm here to talk about these guys. I don't give a fuck about no goddamn Elon Musk.
Migration into his hyper reality,
Okay,
but he
come
can't
on.
pull it off. It's
We
not
got it.
believable enough yet.
He made a simulation. I fucking got it.
His main problem is that not enough other guys are joining him in his hyper reality anymore. The more guys you can get to buy into your simulation, the stronger the pillars necessary to uphold the new reality become. Which brings us back to this. This right here.
Thank you.
Is irrefutable proof that the comedy spaceship and the entire Austin comedy toilet is a hyper-real simulacrum of an actual comedy scene.
I might have been wrong
The whole
about
scene
this
is
elephant
ruled by its
graveyard.
god king, the comedy czar, Joe Rogan. We already discussed how Joe became the comedy.
Damn, that ass is looking nice, dude. Look at bro. He even has an ass like a monkey, bro. He even has an ass like a little monkey. He has a cute little monkey ass, a little Joe Rogan. Oh, he looks like a thumb. Right? How close do I got to get to the camera? There you go. Oh. You get it.
These are in our last video, so go watch that if you don't understand what we're talking about
Yeah, it looks
here.
like Joe.
The comedy czar rules over his dominion with complete domination, and as you'll see, the entire scene is designed to strengthen and maintain Joe's personal, hyper-real simulacrum. Joe has been sliding into hyper-reality for several years, and is now completely immersed in the simulation. A reality in which he is a very smart, special boy.
My personality that is just immune to bullshit.
He has a unique ability to see what's really going on in the world, and he's helping society by scouting for the otherwise unseen danger up ahead.
I'm like a scout, right? Like if you sent me down the trail, and I'm like, hey, there's a cliff. We're running towards a cliff. Stop, everybody stop. There's a cliff! There's a cliff!
He believes the universe chose him as...
I can't believe how funny Joe thinks he is. It's like actually insane to me. Because he's like the first, Joe Rogan is like the first person to talk about other people being delirious. You remember the clip of Brendan Schwab being like, oh, I'm going to go into this next UFC fight, bro. I'm going to fuck this guy up. Joe Rogan's like legitimately calls Brendan like a bitch right on air. It's like, I think that guy would fuck you up because I think you suck at fighting. You should be a comedian. He's like Joe Rogan is the most delusional guy I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. And he's the first person to call out other people for having dreams. You know what I mean? He's like, well, let's be realistic about this, you know? Like, let's be realistic. Let's think about the facts. You know, it's like, dude, the facts are, you ain't funny. I don't know what to say about this.
A sort of prophet destined to help guide humanity through this age of chaos. But just like Jesus Christ, the people misunderstood and rejected him.
Like the universe has put me in this place where I can at least have access to more opinions than most people. And they're like, you're an anti-vaxxer! You don't believe in science! Hashtag Joe Rogan! I'm taking in opinions from all
feel like I'm gonna
directions.
cry.
360 degrees.
Nice, all right, let's see what Joe's...
That's Joe Rogan's whole comedy thing is act like baby. Joe Rogan act like baby. And you have the recipe for the perfect set. If you're Rogan, you could fucking hump stools on the goddamn stage. Did you see Joe's last live comedy special? This guy sweat through his goddamn shirt. This is why you can't do the shit live. If you're a comedian as Joe. Chris Rock went to do a live goddamn comedy special on Netflix and fucked the closer joke up. Legitimately flubbed the shit out of it. Probably because it was about Will Smith. Will Smith would have slapped the shit out of him. You know what I mean? If he would have got that joke off the first time, I mean, Chris Rock might not be with us as far as Will Smith is concerned.
scouted up ahead on the trail for us today.
I love Canada.
Shut
like,
up.
I love the people. I just think they're going down a dark road with this government.
Uh-oh.
They allow polygamy now in Ontario. Yeah, they just passed a law that allow polygamy because they have so many Muslims there.
His hyper-reality no longer has any real connection to classic reality.
Most.
So when did Joe begin this psychic migration? Well, a few years ago, he
Joe, no
decided
like
LA was the reason his life sucked. So he got the hell out of there, moved down to Austin, Texas.
You saw it during the George Floyd times in LA.
Oh, yeah.
When they were burning those cop cars on the highway, and I remember seeing that going, I gotta get the out of here.
Oh, shit, he actually said it. When he realized he was still miserable in Austin, he had to get the hell out of there again. But he had nowhere else to go, so he began a full-on migration into his simulacrum.
Guys, remember that
Because
studio?
He's so rich and holds autocratic control
That
over
shit
his entire
sucked.
simulacrum. He can be the dictator of what is and isn't real. Like the fact that he's a real comedian, one of the greats. And that the world as we know it is finished. It's the end of the age. Doomsday is upon us.
We are in Kali Yuga.
We are in Kali Yuga.
And Hindus were very smart in their idea of, it was the Hindus, right?
Yes,
That came
the
up-
Hindus, yes.
They came up with this idea that there are certain ages, almost
I love how Joe does that.
of civilization. Correct. That they go through these cycles.
What is the period?
Joe will spit out some crazy shit as if it's like complete and utter fact, right? Knowing that there's like at least 9 to 11 million people watching, right? And then 10 seconds after he says it, he goes, actually, Jamie, can you check to see if that's real? It's like every single time. Why don't you just ask the guy to look it up first? You know? This is Joe. This is why I think that this Elephant Graveyard guy is saying that Joe is living like in this simulacrum type shit, right? Is because the guy fucking can't even come to grips with reality in his own goddamn life. You know what I mean? How is it? I don't know. Let's go back to the graveyard.
We're in now because it seems like it's coming to an end.
This is Kali Yuga, man. This is some weird shit that was predicted by the Bhagavad Gita. This is
Battle of the Gods, Ragnarok. Tell me.
This is what happens in cultures. Like, it's almost inevitable.
He even has his own theory about what's driving us toward the end of the age.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times.
It's the Younger Dryas impact theory, man. It's the Younger Dryas impact theory. It's always the same shit with this guy. Younger Dryas impact theory, Gobekli Tepe, fucking all this bullshit. It's the same stories. He tells this one a million goddamn times. Tells the one about his friend who got him into fucking Sam Kinison. Oh, she was telling me the story in the parking lot. I was dying. She was screaming in the parking lot. And then I went on to be a comedian and steal Sam Kinison's entire act.
We are now around soft men in hard times.
In his reality, he's a hard man in a world run by soft men who have allowed the destruction to happen. He's been yelling about that cliff we're all supposedly headed towards, but he feels like nobody's listening. So now he feels like the destruction must happen in order to restore the world back to its proper state.
I don't think we're going to wake up. I think it's going to take something like a natural disaster or some real event, some 9/11 type event. It's just, I don't know where it ends other than a wake up. And a wake up is like a meteor hits us.
As you can
Wait, you want to put a little makeup?
Observe with your own eyes this soft, doughy collection of spheres stacked on top of each other. Thinks he's actually a hard man. But obviously, he's the soft man, making everything worse. He's one of the softest men of all time. Never worked a day in his life. Whines and complains for hours on his podcast.
Hold up, that was the saddest looking thing I've ever seen. If you were playing like sadder music behind that, that would be the saddest thing. I would like legitimately have to call in like a fucking a wellness check on Joe Rogan. Look at this.
And a wake up is like a meteor.
Look at his face with this.
As you can observe with your own eyes, this soft, doughy collection of spheres stacked on
How many
top of each other.
cheeseburgers you gonna eat?
Thinks he's actually a hard man. But obviously, he's the soft
Oh.
man, making everything worse.
Look at that face, dude. Look at that. He looks like the saddest guy. He looks like he pulled a Burt Kreischer and ate 9 fucking double cheeseburgers. And if you're familiar with this show, you know, the show Lost Ox Media, my favorite show, you'll know we talked about this before. Burt He gets like 8 double cheeseburgers or whatever from McDonald's, but he always takes off like one part of the bun and he like tacos the cheeseburgers and like swallows them whole or something like that. Bert Kreischer is the only person that could do like the Patrick Star from SpongeBob, and he like vacuums up the burgers like and just like sucks them all off the table, you know? And Joe Rogan has a guilty ass face. Joe Rogan looks like your dog after your dog just got done chewing through the bag of food that you had hidden in the pantry. That's what Joe looks like. Joe looks like a guilty dog.
He's one of the softest men of all time.
Look at him. Eat it.
Never worked a day in his life.
Watch your fingers, Joe. I'd hate for you to fucking bite one of them digits off.
Whines and complains for hours on his podcast over the dumbest shit year after year.
How dare we say Merry Christmas?
How dare Cries hysterically for no reason and thinks sitting in a sauna is some kind of achievement in overcoming adversity.
For the record. Is that fake?
He gets duped constantly by the most obviously fake stories, photoshops, and AI images.
Fact-checked, volcanoes do not produce more CO2 emissions than human activity.
Reuters is on your ass. Idiot.
There you go.
And somehow he
love
considers
it.
himself one of the greatest comedians of all time. It's embarrassing. It's clear and undeniable that he's living in some sort of inverted alternate reality inside his own mind. Just like we said. And if that's upsetting to hear, it's because you are also living in the same kind of hyper-real simulacrum, and that remark just threatened to knock down one of those pillars holding up your alternate reality. You're feeling this right now because once those beliefs become ingrained, the self-preservation instinct activates. And any time those pillar beliefs are challenged, it's experienced as an existential threat because it could collapse the entire simulacrum and drag you back to that classic reality you had to get the hell out of in the first place. Consciousness is really just a big hallucination anyway. It's completely malleable. Change what's in that brain, and you change reality. For example, sometimes our brains get built a little wonky, and you get OCD, schizophrenia, all this stuff that makes your brain unable to stay in one version of reality. Very stressful. Likewise, it's very stressful when the pillar beliefs upholding your hyper-real simulacrum are challenged, as they threaten the stability of and your attachment to reality. It creates existential anxiety, and that anxiety must be relieved without destabilizing the simulacrum, and that often results in horrific consequences. Becoming the comedy czar gave Joe an immense amount of wealth, which allowed him to construct a sort of compound in which he could protect his precious simulacrum. A bunker, which would protect him from sliding back into the ever-so-painful classic reality ever again. And using his millions of dollars and massive influence,
Spotify.
Jobles attracted a flock of devoted followers who uphold and strengthen his new reality.
You just call him Jobles? Jobles is actually fucking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Jobles. Is this fucking Lex Friedman?
Attracted a flock of devoted followers who uphold and strengthen his new reality for a chance to get a piece of the pie. It takes a whole community to properly uphold a hyper-real simulacrum, and Joe succeeded where Elon failed. Joe has been able to fully complete his migration by amassing a huge support network. He achieved this through several tactics. 1, by offering himself and his show as a friendship simulator during the loneliest era in human history, for his audience, but also for himself.
Oh, he's going. Day drinking rules.
2, in an era of political confusion and turmoil.
There was Elon Musk doing that shit. Look at that.
2,
Gotta see him right here.
In an era of political confusion
Look at Musk.
and turmoil.
Look at Trump looking back at him. This fucking retard's gonna cost me the election. I should have never gave him that fucking job as the fucking Doge. How do I get him out of here?
He became a compass for guys with double-digit IQs who are too lazy to learn anything by themselves and don't even know how to, because they barely know how to read a real book or even a Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
Theo Vaughn. Perfect example of that.
3, by becoming a father figure to guys who needed their dad-shaped holes plugged. Those holes longed to be plugged, and Joe became a convenient surrogate. His love and wisdom available 24/7 on Spotify, YouTube, or your podcast app of choice. And 4,
Buffalo Trace. We thought we'd do a sample tasting for you.
by providing an economic incentive model with his podcast becoming the Home Shopping Network.
Tastes good.
As well as a PR washing machine.
This is funny. I went into Lorne Michaels' office, and he was
Look, this guy is like one of the craziest Joe Rogan stories, if you haven't heard. Look, arrested after body parts found in the freezer. This was like the craziest shit. Joe Rogan ends up having this Jamoke on, right? But it was because he knew, like, this guy that was familiar with Joe, that the guy would get people who were wrongfully convicted of stuff out of jail, right? So Joe has this buddy who's getting wrongfully convicted people out of jail and prison and stuff, and he ends up bringing this guy as a guest on JRE, the Joe Rogan Excursion. You know, I call it the Excursion because Joe is monkey. So this guy and his buddy who bailed him out end up going on the Joe Rogan Excursion, right? And this guy talks about how he was wrongfully convicted for, like, I don't know if he, like, robbed some pregnant girl or, like, he, like, assaulted a guy, but, like, he only assaulted him a little bit, but he was in prison for, like, assaulting him a lot of bit or something like that, right? And the guy got him out of prison, right? I want to say, I'm not even kidding, like, not even 5 months after this asshole goes on Joe Rogan, they find body parts in this guy's freezer. He, like, killed somebody, chopped him the fuck up, tried to get away with it, and had him hidden in the freezer. They had fucking surveillance video of this guy leaving, like, some apartment building or something like that, wearing, like, a blonde wig. As if the shit was sweet, as if he was going to get away with the shit, right? You know? Like, I don't want to sound crazy, right? But blonde on a black person, or even blonde on, like, a dark Latina person, right? That's attention grabbing. I hate to be the one to say it to you. That's, like, the most attention grabbing shit. When I see blonde hair on a really dark person, I think prostitute. I don't know why. It screams like GTA San Andreas to me, you know? When I see, like, a dark Latina or Latino with blonde hair, or a black girl with blonde hair, black guy with blonde hair, I immediately think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas prostitute. That's exactly where my head is going. I'm sorry. I can't help it. And this guy is trying to leave the apartment building wearing a wig, blonde hair. I mean, that's as attention-grabbing as it gets. You know? Come to find out, they find body parts in this guy's freezer. This is like, Joe doesn't even look up the people that he's, like, having on the show anymore. He just goes, that guy is interesting. Let's have him on. He has, like, Peter Thiel on. It's like billionaire that's made, like, money off of, like, the backs of, like, I don't know too much about Peter Thiel. I'm not going to lie. I'm just talking shit.
And I was convinced I was getting fired. Like, I knew I was getting fired. And I was like, if I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine.
And through...
Look at that. Even Shane Gillis gets it right out the rip. And this is when Shane wasn't even all that famous. This is like right after the SNL firing, right? Even Shane fucking could see the recipe right off the rip. He goes, yeah, you just go on Rogan, you say your piece, right? You make it as nice as possible. And then you got the support of 10 million people. Next thing you know, they can't touch you, man, if you play your cards right. Joe Rogan's show ain't what it used to be. Now, you go on Joe Rogan, you'd be lucky to get like a couple 100,000 followers off the shit. Before you were on the show, like around COVID, right before COVID, you got on Rogan. You had it fucking made.
Comedy by creating his own comedy cult with its own built-in multi-level comedy scheme. If you indulge Joe in his new hyper-reality, you'll be rewarded with opportunity. And because that feels so good, you'll soon find yourself migrating across the psychic ocean of your mind, joining Joe inside his simulacrum. That's why it's called the Comedy Mothership. It's a transport vessel that will migrate its believers into their new reality. Which reminds me of another cult, one of my favorites actually, Heaven's Gate. It too was run by a weird bald guy who wouldn't stop talking. This guy, Marshall Applewhite, but his friends called him Doe, which rhymes with Joe. Don't know if Joe designed his cult in homage to Doe's cult, but the similarities are striking. And I even heard a rumor that Joe's dog was named after Marshall.
Is Heaven's Gate, is that the one with the Kool-Aid? I like legitimately do not know. Is that the one with the I wish I wish there were people in the chat that could tell me. No, in all seriousness, though, I do not remember if that's the one with the Kool-Aid.
Applewhite.
Marshall's trying to say hi to you. Hey, buddy.
Doe and Heaven's Gate's beliefs were a cool blend of alien spirituality and Christian apocalyptic prophecy.
I can't wait to get out of here.
Doe believed Jesus was an alien who came to Earth to guide us, and that Doe himself was a messenger from the higher plane of existence, sent here to warn humanity about the upcoming destruction. Sound familiar?
The name Jesus, of course, was the name given to the body, that mind that was indeed from the kingdom of heaven, and that mind came for the express purpose of teaching humans how they could be saved, how they would not be plowed under at the end of the age. Well, we're at the end of the age.
Like the universe has put me in this place where I'm like a scout, right? Like if you sent me down the trail, and I'm like, hey, there's a cliff.
Now, they didn't have podcasts back then, but Doe's lengthy, rambling seminar videos would fit in perfectly to our current podcasting landscape.
When things are going bad.
Many times the worst things in the human kingdom that can happen to us end up being the best things that can happen to us.
There's going to be some good that's going to come from it.
Because we learn in-depth lessons because of those difficult times.
Unexpected problems, good. You learn.
They're not the Kool-Aid people. Thank you. Thank you, Chester Berry.
Through his podcast, I mean his videos, Doe lectured that the end of this age is upon us, that the Earth was about to be transformed, recycled, but they could escape this doom by boarding a spaceship flying behind the comet Hale-Bopp as it passed by Earth.
We are one or two events away from living in the Stone Age again. And I think it could happen in our lifetime, and it could happen to you and I.
People who would consider themselves intelligent beings that say, well, that's absurd. What's all this doomsday stuff? What's all this prophetic stuff?
We're in this very strange...
It blows my mind how anyone would trust someone who looks like that. Like, if somebody's looking at... Like, if I did the whole entire show like this, staring into the camera at you like this, you know, and I was just playing the shit in the background just at you like this the whole time, smiling. That's like the craziest, most like fabricated shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Yet people fall for it. Isn't that insane to think about? Like how people can be like that broken. Like people in the world can be like that broken that they would be susceptible to falling to something that someone is saying who looks like this. That's crazy to me. And you see the documentaries, it's always like some regular ass people. At least they seem regular in the documentaries that fall for this shit.
Stuff. What's all this prophetic stuff?
We're in this very strange sort of existential crisis as a civilization that's not being recognized. And in the meantime, we're distracting ourselves.
You know, intelligent human beings should realize that everything has their cycle. They have their beginning, they have their end, they have cycles.
Hold on.
Yo, chill, bro.
Isn't that the exact same?
There are certain ages, almost unavoidable, of civilizations that they go through these cycles.
They have cycles.
Cycles.
Hey, yo.
Cycles.
That they go through these cycles.
They're the exact same guy.
Every civilization, when they're at the brink of collapse, becomes obsessed with gender. The whole thing is falling apart. The foundation of our civilization is falling apart.
Doe offered his followers a way to save themselves from what he called the recycling of planet Earth, which was about to begin. He and the cultists needed to die so that the spaceship flying behind the comet could pick up their souls as they left their bodies, carrying them away to the next level of existence, to a new reality. The cultists all submitted to Doe's authority, believing that he was the gatekeeper through which they could ascend to that next level. The ultimate test came when that comet finally arrived. They all did a full SUI in order to join Doe and board that spaceship.
I thought you just said it wasn't the Kool-Aid people. This guy's telling me everybody did a SUI. A fucking SUI!
Which they could ascend to that next level. The ultimate test came when that...
Wait, was it Kool-Aid?
...was the gatekeeper through which they could ascend to that next level. The ultimate test came when that comet finally arrived. They all did a full SUI in order to join Doe and board that spaceship.
Bro, let me just look this up myself. Heaven's Gate. Are they the Kool-Aid people? Let's see if Ask Jeeves can help us out. Heaven's Gate. Kool-Aid people? Not that I don't believe you, Mr. Chester Berry. Chester Berry 1-5. I just want to see what AI says. Yeah, that's what I meant, bro. Look, why ain't I get... Oh, Jonestown was the Kool-Aid people. Ah. So how did they kill themselves? I gotta know. How the hell did the people in Heaven's Gate kill themselves? They came to believe that the body was merely a vessel. It was a coordinated coinciding of what? How did they do it? How did Heaven's Gate kill themselves? I don't even care that I spelled it wrong. Go ahead, Google. Members of the Heaven's Gate cult died by self-harm as part of a mass event. This event resulted in 39 individuals dying, including the cult leader. A few days before the mass self-harm event, members had a last supper of turkey pot pies at a local restaurant. I just want to know how they did it. Damn. Okay. Well, can't get that information that quick. We're going back.
And if you know anything at all
to the simulacrum
about the Austin comedy cult, this all sounds eerily familiar, doesn't it? That's because Doe and Joe are the exact same strain of guy. Think about it. Just like Doe, Joe also offers his followers a way to transcend their lives and enter a new reality by boarding the comedy mothership. The comedy cult's followers also must commit a sui to transcend into that new reality. Not a literal full sui, but the kind of sui that existentialist Albert Camus called a philosophical sui. Okay. When we're faced with the absurdity of life, the fact that the universe is pure chaos despite our deep desire for order and meaning, we have two options. You can embrace the absurdity, surf the waves of chaos without copes, or we destroy ourselves, either literally or much more commonly through a philosophical sui. You don't sui your body, but you do sui a part of your inner self. You kill the part of your mind that's inquiring, the part that's honest, the part that embraces life's absurdity without copes. And you fill the hole left behind with things that offer false certainty in place of honest doubt. Religious faith, political partisanship, materialism, hollow spirituality, scientism, hustle cut culture, digital escapism, reactionary nostalgia.
Look, dude, Jordan Peterson was on like a fucking good 6-month run where like every time he spoke in public, the guy cried about something. It was like actually insane. Like it was starting to get to the point to where like you started to like worry about the guy. Like as big of a cuck as Jordan Peterson is, you like almost like wanted to like call somebody for him, you know? I wonder how many like DMs he got of people sending him like suicide hotline shit. You know, because people get crazy with this like meta social shit online. Like people will legitimately think that they like are your friend. You know, I love all 8 of you. You know, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying we don't know each other. You know, you might know me through the show or through this, but you don't know me, you know. But people get nuts, man. People probably DMing Jordan Peterson going, hey, man, I got a number you could call, bro. This guy, every single time he talked about anything, anywhere, he was crying.
Being a fat, drunk idiot all the time. Philosophical overthinking. Cultism and guru worship, or complete submission to authority. Sometimes all of the above.
Greetings to you, my friends. It's me, D. Trussell.
Take this guy, Duncan Trussell, for example. One of Joe's longtime friends and a former advocate of radical honesty, truth-seeking, and psychedelic wisdom. Not long ago, he was the lone voice of reason in Joe's inner circle, and the only guy to openly predict how Joe would be corrupted by powerful forces looking to exploit him for access to his far-reaching media platform.
People have decided you're one of the magnifying glasses focusing this beam of attention into the world. You have to watch out because people are gonna like try to exploit you. That's the main thing, is like people recognizing what you are, who have political agendas, will infiltrate your
That's Joe eating his own shit out of his own butt. That's Joe Rogan. You know? Isn't it crazy? Less than 10 years after this conversation, Joe had like Donald Trump on. You know, Peter Thiel, the billionaire I was talking. He had dude, this guy had Kash Patel on, bro. Kash Patel couldn't even talk to like half the shit that Joe Rogan knew about from the news. That's how in the know Kash Patel was when he was on the JRE.
and then start blowing out their radioactivity into the world. And you have to wrestle with your identity. I worry about you, man.
He was well aware of these billionaire techno-wizard freaks out there, manipulating new media before it became too obvious to deny. He warned Joe about them being a danger over and over again.
We established they're these billionaires, and they live in these compounds. Right. And certainly people like Michael Hastings and other people, they get killed all the time. There's super powerful people who will use technology to kill people to have their own way. So that means that there is some group or series of groups of people that are doing like highly nefarious actions from places of power. Mm-hmm. We know that there is like truly a war to control the paradigm.
He was by all accounts an honest guy, and probably the only guy on that stupid podcast who would rather say what's true than just whatever the burgeoning comedy emperor wanted to hear. But those sorts of qualities are no longer welcome in the comedy czar's simulacrum. They're far too threatening. So once Joe migrated into his new reality, Duncan faced the hard choice of either embracing the absurd and maintaining...
Yeah, Duncan Trussell cannot do bald, dude. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, dude. Duncan Trussell cannot do bald. He looks like that one guy from fucking Stranger Things, bro. Like, he legitimately looks like that. I don't know the guy's actual name, but he's a fucking weirdo. Like, outside of the show. Look him up.
...and truth, or committing a philosophical sui and joining Joe in his new reality in order to maintain connection to the comedy czar's sphere of influence. Oh, Tipahan.
Whatever's happening, you just have to make it a good thing. Anything that's happening to you can be converted into something either that's going to make you scared, self-destructive, rationalize your anger, rationalize your shitty decisions, or it can be used as a thing that completely converts you. Like at any given moment, you can shed your operating system. You could drop all of the hangups, all the weird at any moment connected to the great truth, the divine.
That was him.
Duncan sounds so philosophical. He's just talking about like shit that he sees in front of him. He like looks at his phone. He's like, you could shed your operating system, man. You know, he's got like tassels hanging down from the brim of his hat. He's like, you could shed all your hang-ups, man. You could like move all the shit out of your face, dude. And you could like see clear for the first time, man. You could take off your sunglasses, dude. You could take off your army fatigues and you could be free of all the weight, man. He like sounds so philosophical. He's just like talking about shit in the room.
Completely converts you. Like at any given moment, you can shed your operating system. You could drop all of the hangups, all the weird at any moment connected to the great truth, the divine.
That was him.
Isn't it crazy when you hear when you hear me fucking make that little joke, right? And then you hear him talk it back, it kind of does make it seem like he's doing that, doesn't it?
5 years
it's
ago.
Nice to pretend.
He's since followed through on this new guy conversion, so let's see how connected he is to that great truth. Ooh, that divine.
Let me ask you this, though. What do you think about people who say that someone like Peter Thiel is the Antichrist?
Here's what's fascinating to me about accusing Peter Thiel of being the Antichrist.
Now, Peter Thiel, in case you didn't know this in advance, is one of the primary billionaire techno-wizards we mentioned earlier. With his
I just got done saying how much I don't know about Peter Thiel. This is exciting. Let's learn about some Peter Thiel.
Accusing Peter Thiel of being the Antichrist.
Now, Peter Thiel, in case you didn't know this in advance, is one of the primary billionaire techno-wizards we mentioned earlier. With his immense wealth, Thiel wields massive influence in politics, media, and online information from behind the scenes. He says cool stuff like, Freedom and democracy are actually not compatible. Pete's company, Palantir, is deeply embedded with the CIA, ICE, FBI, NSA, police, and the military-industrial complex, and promises to be the most powerful mass surveillance platform to ever exist. He subscribes to a philosophy that believes that civilization as we know it ought to be destroyed, and from its ashes, a new technocracy should arise, a new state run by a CEO king who wields absolute authority. Pete is part of this new military tech industrial complex, operating with little oversight while creating autonomous weapons and surveillance systems, whose algorithms remain a complete mystery. He's a caricature of a villain, straight out of a comic book. But Pete is real. And the
God, you turned the texture up on that photo, and Jesus Christ. Holy shit, this guy's got more craters in his face than the moon. What is happening here? Don't matter how much money you got, you can't get rid of that. So this guy actually sounds like the most evil fucking guy. And I'm almost convinced that there's, like, no such thing as, like, a righteous billionaire. Like, you know what's funny is there's this fucking guy that's been, like, making the rounds of the podcast lately. This fucking, a billionaire. I think his name is, like, Lucky Palmer or some shit like that. Or Palmer Lucky. It's, like, one or the other. He's the guy that invented the Oculus Rift, and then he sold it to Facebook. Eventually worked for Facebook, running the shit, and then got fired from Facebook. The whole big shit. Now the guy makes, like, weapon systems, or, like, weapons for the United States. Like, all sorts of weapon systems for the United States government. Now, this guy is doing, like, podcast tour. He's on JRE, of course. I mean, that's standard. That comes stock, right? Any podcast tour, JRE comes standard. I just like done seeing this fucking Lucky Palmer dude on goddamn Impulsive a couple days ago. He's like, I don't know. I don't even understand what, like, the like sell would be. Is he making, like, I mean, he came on there with some weird ass looking Game Boy toy thing. And, like, when he was on Joe Rogan, he was showing him, like, all his military helmets and shit. He's like, this one's got AI fucking goggles so you could see through, like, walls and shit. So, like, I don't understand what, like, the reasoning behind this guy wanting to go from Joe Rogan to Impulsive. I wonder what's he going to be on next. Tucker Carlson? Like my man Nick Fuente? You know what I mean?
straight out of a comic book. But Pete is real, and the exact kind of nefarious, influential guy that Duncan used to warn everybody about just a few years ago. All right, back to Duncan. What's he saying about Pete?
Here's what's fascinating to me about accusing Peter Thiel of being the fucking Antichrist.
Stuff. He's very much
talking awesome. And it was like totally normal dude, obviously super smart. There didn't feel like there was any kind of like subversive anything, nothing to really be scared of.
Depressing,
so people
man.
say that Peter Thiel is Antichrist, just for argument's sake.
Fucking says that.
You hear that? He's actually getting mad about this.
Argument's
Fucking says that.
The reason Dunk's got to do this is because the comedy czar is actually Pete's friend now. So he had to become a new guy to stay in Joe's circle of power. A shriveled husk of a guy. Being fed by the demonic umbilical cord attached to the bowels of the comedy czar, from which he can never disengage. He's cooked, finished, and God, look at him. He's just not the same guy. Look in his eyes, it's obvious. Those are Suey eyes. Well, that's a confirmed Suey for Duncan. Rest in peace, man. Quel dommage. Well, once you've entered the comedy czar's comedy cult simulacrum, you're expected to do your part to uphold the pillars of this new reality. Upholding the pillars allows you to stay in the cult and potentially reap the rewards that come from its membership. These tenets bind the simulacrum together, and as we already explained, the more guys you've got upholding the pillars, the more stable the new reality becomes, which is vital because if the simulation crumbles, it's all over for this stupid experiment. All cults need their tenets, and the Austin comedy toilet cult, or whatever we're calling it, is no different. Because Joe is the sole autocratic dictator of the entire scene, he could construct his world however he wanted to.
Starting it from the ground up. So it's this completely new thing, and it can kind of go a lot of different ways, and a lot of different things can happen. You don't know what's going to happen one way or the other. Those things are very exciting. It's scary, but it's exciting.
Primary pillar, like all cults, is the steadfast veneration, devotion, and reverence of the cult leader. Just like Jim Jones, Joe originally sold his comedy scene as a utopian paradise.
So make it as fun and as comfortable for the comics as possible, as welcoming to the comics as possible. It's a warm, inviting environment, and the whole idea is just to make it so that I can make it so they feel like this is home.
And just like Jonestown, it quickly devolved into an authoritarian nightmare.
I like the intensity of the mothership. I bring my opener. He's having a rough set. I'm sitting on the balcony watching it. Rogan is standing there watching him bomb like this. Rogan goes, he's bombing, man. He can't be here. And I go, I agree. Kill him. You want to kill him? Kill him right now. We'll break his legs.
Look, I've actually talked about this exact clip on the show before, about how, like, Tim is so easily influenced by Joe that he's willing to fucking sell his goddamn opener down the river, practically kick him out of goddamn Joe's club just because the guy bombed once. You know what I mean? Can a guy catch a break? You know, that's so crazy.
Standing there watching him bomb like this. Rogan goes, he's bombing, man. He can't be here. And I go, I agree. Kill him. You want to kill him? Kill him right now. We'll break his legs.
Imagine saying he's bombing, he can't be here. Like, rather than just being like, yo, your friend is bombing, like, just get him off the stage. Like, you know, he can try again a different night, maybe when it's, like, a little bit slower. Tell him to hit the open mic and the little boy, you know? Instead, Joe goes, he's bombing, man. He can't be here. He's got to get out of the entire fucking club because he's bombing. Okay. That's crazy.
Standing there watching him bomb like this. Rogan goes, he's bombing, man. He can't be here. And I go, I agree. Kill him. You want to kill him? Kill him right now. We'll break his legs. Get the Navy SEALs. Let's shoot him in the face. And then the kid got off stage, and I felt really bad. I said, listen, you got to go right now. It's gonna kill you. Joe is unhappy, and it looks really bad. You got to get out of this club right now.
The cultists all submit to the authority of its charismatic leader who can never be questioned or crossed. He's a supreme leader, and Austin is comedy North Korea. Comedy cultists must pay tribute to the dear leader by praising him and are expected to excessively embellish his abilities, often to an absurd degree.
How many people on Earth do you think could kill you? 100, to be generous? Very few people can kill you if they want to.
This is straight out of the North Korean playbook.
Look, Whitney Cummings, dude, she's a fucking little freak her goddamn self. Look,
How
she comes with this
many
doll,
people-
right? She doesn't have this doll in the background. Watch this.
On Earth do you think?
Look, dude, she was like legitimately like traveling around with this doll. I don't know if like a sex company made it for her or what, but like, why would you just bring that around with you? Like, you think this is funny? And then look, the last time I saw that doll was when she brought it on Bill Maher's show, right? Guess what? When she brought it on Bill Maher's show, look at that late soundbite. I love it. When she brought it on Bill Maher's show, she gave it to him. Like, hey, man, this is a sex robot. You could have it. Bill Maher's like, yeah, I can finally have sex with a woman, even though it's not a real woman. Dude, I think this thing is still sitting in Bill Maher's basement. Like, now. You know? This clip is obviously old.
Could kill you. 100, to be generous? Very few people can kill you if they want to.
This is straight out of the North Korean playbook, where they pretend their dear leader was the world's greatest golfer after shooting 38 under par on his first ever round, including 11 holes in one. Comedy cultists are expected to study the...
Look at that. Chris Capelli says that saying only 100 people can kill Joe Rogan on Earth is actually insane. I agree. Saying almost anything cool about Joe Rogan is actually insane. If you have anything cool to say about that guy, you might be a redneck. If you like Joe Rogan, you might be a redneck.
The beliefs of their dear leader and prove their commitment and allegiance by repeating his own opinions back to him.
I was doing the cold plunge after I did the sauna. I've incorporated a new thing that I was telling you where I get up first thing in the morning, I get in the cold plunge.
Sauna cold plunge thing? I'm so into it.
That's awesome.
My hotel choice.
I'm so into it. I'm so into it. Imagine this fucking little twink going into a goddamn cold plunge. He would break. He's so brittle. He would shatter like glass if he got into some cold water. The second he started shivering, he would start shattering like glass. Every fucking bone in his little twig body would break. Have you gotten into the cold sponge? I love the cold plunge. Yo, I hate Jimmy Carr. So I've never hated someone more just for their voice. Like, he has probably one of the most annoying voices I've ever heard. And I love me a Brit. I love me a Brit, right? It's something about Jimmy Carr. His whole, like, because he sounds like he's trying to do, like, the Victorian era, like Brit, right? Bro, it's 2025. You got to lose that shit.
Created a new thing that I was telling you where I get up first thing in the morning, I get in the cold plunge.
Sauna cold plunge thing? I'm so into it.
No,
That's
you ain't.
awesome.
My hotel choice. I'm solving for places with sauna cold plunge.
Of like a real legitimate.
Look, Joe almost, like, knows he got him. To imagine saying that. Yo, I saw you with the cold plunge, right? And now I'm so into it, I only stay at hotels that have cold plunges. Public cold plunges. I want to go into a cold plunge that everybody else has been in. You know, every other asshole on fucking vacation, I want to get into the same cold plunge as them. This is the same rules as, like, a hot tub in a hotel. You do not get in the goddamn hot tub at a hotel. That's like getting into, like, people soup. You understand? Like, you just don't do it. A pool, maybe the chlorine and shit like that. Something about a hot tub and it being hot, it's like brewing a bag of tea, right? Imagine it like that. That's how I envision it. You know, you get into a hot tub, you're practically making tea with my balls, right? If I'm getting in that hot tub, I'm practically making tea with my balls, right? And every other guy who's gotten in that goddamn hot tub, I'm just adding to the mix. You understand what I'm saying here? And then the girls are getting in, the kids are getting in and farting and pissing. Like, the hotel ain't cleaning that thing like every hour, you know? And I'm not even a germaphobe. I love me some food off the floor, you know what I mean? If I got to do it, I got to do it, right? But something about a hotel hot tub, you know? That's like this. That's just as low rent as staying in a motel. You know, like a $40 a night motel. You don't stay in the motel. You stay in the hotel. You know, it's the same thing.
Professional comedian that can go up and do an hour. And kill. How
Not
guys?
many. Arenas, not many.
Not many. Not many for theaters. I mean, for
250.
theaters. Is there
I would
50?
say
100?
Yeah.
Maybe 100?
Probably less, man.
And by making sure you're
250. He said 250. Where are the less than 100 now? Come on. I thought it was only less than 100 people that could kill the guy. Now it's less than 100 comedians. What happened to the 250?
panders
Fucking
to
bullshit.
your leader's personal interests and beliefs. You do that, you can tape your special at his spaceship club.
I got 2 daughters. I got a wife. She's a she/her. Just want to let you know that right off the bat. Like, the plumbing matches the pronouns, if you know what I'm talking about.
And really just doing whatever they got to do to appease him.
Look, I love this. I talked about this clip on the show, too. Watch how fucking bad Chris is going to biff this goddamn cigar. He's smoking this thing like a 13-year-old trying to smoke their first cigarette. He's like, I inhaled.
No matter how debasing or humiliating it might be for them.
This is Chris DiStefano's very first time ever.
Okay.
Lighting and
I
smoking
hope
a
they
cigar.
show it. They got to show it.
Light
Is
that
this the
cigar.
right way?
Show the whole
Yeah.
clip.
Vomit.
Is this the right way, he says. Is this the right? Why can't you just look? You have to just look around the room, man. Act like you've been here before, bro. Come on.
I want to see him vomit.
Get it on there. Get it on there. All right, you're good. Just start pulling. No, you're not.
Look at him. You see the lips. He's Chris DiStefano, right? Sucking a big old black dick on JRE.
Breathe in while you're doing that. Puff. Keep puffing. There we
This
go.
is so mean.
Look at Joe Rogan. Puff. Keep puffing. Keep puffing. Yo, when you see it montaged out like this, like the actual clip, there's like some time in between the puffs, you know, and Chris coughing his ass off. When you see it like straight up montage like this, it legitimately seems like Joe is like picking on Chris. He's forcing him to do this. This is like the equivalent of like a bully making a kid who doesn't smoke a cigarette. He's like, you're going to smoke it or I'm going to punch you in the gut. You know, I'm going to give you a good one right in the gut if you don't smoke it.
There. Get it on there. All right, you're good. Just start pulling. No, you're not. Breathe in while you're doing that. Puff. Keep puffing. There we
This
go.
is so mean.
Take a sniff of these bits. Come take a sniff.
Take a smell.
Take a sniff of these pits, he said.
Humiliation.
Yeah, that's right. Get in there.
Humiliation.
Dude, imagine being a grown-ass man and fucking running across the table to go smell Joe Rogan's pits. Okay. That's when you know you like, this is like a debase yourself type shit. We are witnessing Giannis Pappas and Chris DiStefano debase themselves in this clip. This is insane. You have to have completely lost your way to want to do this to anybody. Does not matter how fucking much of an idol they are to you. Okay? It does not matter how much of a hero they are to you. If you are running across a goddamn table to go sniff that person's armpits, dude, is the correct answer to what Joe just did? Hey, come take a sniff of these pits. You go, no. That's it. End of conversation. Next question, please. Thank you, Joe. You know, sorry, it ain't me, babe. You know what I mean? That's the correct way to go about that situation. Not to sit there, run across the table because you're worried that Joe might not think you're cool if you didn't smell his pits. That's fucking insane.
Pits. Come take a sniff.
Take a smell. Yeah, you want me to go on the other
Yes,
side?
my
Come
king.
take a sniff.
Look at these assholes.
Humiliation.
Yeah, that's right. Get in there.
Look, both of those men have children. Do you know that? Both of those men are married and have children and shit. Like full-blown ass families and stuff like that. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Chris Stefano has a whole ass stepchild. Isn't that nuts, bro? He's sniffing this man's pits like this.
Jesus Christ, that is bad.
Not bad, right?
Not bad
And
at all.
The most shameful lie of all of them. You got to pretend that Dear Leader is actually funny. You got to laugh at any attempts at humor, no matter how embarrassing for him.
Look, Shane Gillis, if they're about to do Protect Our Parks, Shane Gillis is like the only one that'll like laugh, and then he does like a Kanye. He goes, and he goes, yeah, it's not funny. You know, you can like see it in him. Like I feel like Jamie tries to cut away fast enough, but sometimes you still get him.
Or you.
Baby, I'm a baby. It's all about me.
That's what it is.
What are you, some kind of communist? Ori! Why?
Like, I'm a legit world-class comic. Like, I'm real.
Yeah. Everybody knows you as a comic.
The lie functions
Even
as a
Ari
loyalty
can't
test.
say it, right? Even Ari had to leave out the world-class part. He goes, everybody knows you as a comic. You know. I don't know about the world-class part. Ari wishes he was a world-class comic. Only thing about world-class is about Ari is that he travels a lot. That's about it.
As a comic.
Everyone knows you as a
The lie functions as a loyalty test.
Congratulations on your magnificent success.
Thank you very much.
And you're a comedian too, huh?
Yeah.
And you're a
You were
comedian.
murdering so hard when you're climbing on a stool. I was like, holy fuck. Because we all thought you're just like a famous guy who just does stand up on the side.
Uh-oh.
And we were like, nah, this guy's a murderer.
Ooh,
there it is.
Sneaky.
This lie is just so egregious. I had to
Okay.
call this brain science guy.
Ari sneaking in a fucking little, back fist on Joe. I like that. Okay.
Called Sam to get some perspective. Hey man, yeah, can you just explain how people could be this dishonest?
The harder the lies are to believe, I mean, really, the impossible lie functions like a loyalty test, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Still.
Code for being in the cult is designed
That's
to get
right.
people to believe nothing, so that they just realize, okay, who knows?
Yeah, well, lucky man.
I'm just
we're
going to
lucky.
be obedient and keep my head down. I'm just going
Yeah.
to put a sign in the window, claiming to believe the big lie, so that that no one drags me out of my shop and beats me to death on the sidewalk, right? I mean, like
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, thanks,
It
man.
was Hannah Arendt's point.
All right,
in the
yep,
origins
good.
of
Gotta go.
totalitarianism.
Bye.
When loyalty is everything, if you're a ruler who demands total and complete loyalty, you're going to create a circle of liars around yourself.
Ousted comedian Chris D'Elia.
Dude, Brian Callen's slowly breaking out of the simulacrum. Go back and watch the episode if you haven't watched it. I think it's called Joe Rogan is Getting Sick of His Old Friend or something like that. I covered this one episode Brian Callen did. Fight Companion with Brendan Schwabe. Maybe like about a month ago. Dude, Brian Callen's firing back, bro. Him and Joe Rogan straight going at each other in that goddamn episode. The shit was sweet, bro. I feel like Brian's breaking out of the simulacrum. I feel like he's breaking out.
Tried to defend Joe's last special, but he really struggled to navigate that maze, trying to find that perfect take that's going to convincingly praise that comedy atrocity.
Rogan's special came out, and I'm happy about it.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
so
one
crazy
second.
how, like,
My bad.
obviously obviously, I honestly haven't seen the reviews. I saw somebody saying it, and they were like, this is a this is a hack. And it was straight up just not hacking. The one thing that they have is it's hack. Like super woke people even know
What? Hello?
He's hack.
Yeah. These appeals to dear leader through praise are made in hope that one day his
Listening to Chris buy time, like in between every single point he's trying to make in defense of Joe Rogan, is like the sweetest music to my ears. He can't, because Chris is quick. Chris D'Elia usually is quick to just fire the shit off. He can't even fucking come up with a solid thought to tell people how much he loves this special.
gracious hand will reach down to them, bless them with his endorsement, and pull them out of their hellish obscurity.
So there's kind of this trickle down, you know?
Now-
Once Joe Rogan likes me, then your mom's house goes, want to be on our episode. Once Rogan was like, this Jeff Dye guy's really good, then everyone else has to fall in line.
Right, everyone else does.
Now I gotta treat daddy like dad. I gotta kiss the rings, you know? You don't go on Joe Rogan and then start talking shit. You know, Joe's dad.
Oh, shit. Damn, yeah. You can't get it more from the horse's goddamn mouth than that. You got to kiss the goddamn ring. Jeff Dye kissing the goddamn ring. You know what's funny is these two guys right here, I just watched their podcast. It's called, like, After Tonight or some shit like that. And they had Ben Avery on. They were talking about Jeff Dye, how they had him on. Dude, right after this podcast that they had with Jeff Dye, they fucking trashed the shit out of him, right? Dude, he got so pissed off about it. He's like, I'm not friends with you guys no more. And I'd be pissed too, man. Jeff Dye's over here spilling the goddamn tea. You guys gonna trash him like that? I'd trash him too, I ain't gonna lie.
Bless them with his endorsement and pull them out of their hellish obscurity.
So there's kind of this trickle down, you know?
Now-
Once Joe Rogan likes me, then your mom's house goes, want to be on our episode. Once Rogan was like, this Jeff Dye guy's really good, then everyone else has to fall in line.
Right, everyone else does.
Now I gotta treat daddy like dad. I gotta kiss the rings, you know? You don't go on Joe Rogan and then start talking shit. You know, Joe's dad.
Ooh.
The second pillar is they are the anti-mainstream, anti-commercial, anti-establishment underdogs. Dear leader
Dude.
gained much of his power by selling.
Well, this guy says grown guys having to suck up to their work dad. Dude, you couldn't have said it better. You couldn't have said it better. Imagine that. You know how it is too. Anyone in here who's working like a regular ass 9 to 5, you know, it's probably all of us. You see that one kiss ass at work, you want to do nothing more than to shove that person's head right into a goddamn wall. It's insanity. Now you ever imagine seeing that person sniffing your fucking boss's armpits like, oh, you'd be like, dude, we're all cooked. This person's gonna get all of us fired.
Himself as the antidote to corporate mainstream media and culture. His platform is now bigger and more influential than the mainstream media he once stood in opposition to. But because being anti-mainstream was such a fundamental part of his sense of self and his show and his audience's identity, they all have to keep pretending that they are not mainstream. Admitting otherwise could collapse their new reality, so they stick together, upholding that pillar, keeping their simulacrum stable.
Rejection, rejection of whatever is whatever people think the comedy industry is, because people think the comedy industry is like some group of people with power that control all and give people specials that don't deserve it. There's all this like weird thoughts about the comedy business, but when the comedy business is only comedians, there's no business element behind it. There's no networks, there's no producers, there's no person, no executive, there's none of that. So it's just wild.
Dear leader is a billionaire.
Look at
Instead
Joe.
of running his own show, he's still partnered with the tech establishment.
They all do this. This is what's crazy about this. They all do this. Every single one of them talks shit about how they don't need anybody. They all sign deals with Matt and Shane's secret fucking podcast. They just signed a deal with Spotify. You can't listen to a goddamn episode of Matt and Shane's secret podcast without it ending with fucking Matt McCusker going, listen to Matt and Shane's secret podcast on Spotify today. It's like, dude, come on. Kill Tony, same shit. Kill Tony every goddamn episode is talking about how shitty YouTube is because they have to censor themselves. How they don't need the establishment. We do it all on our own. And then he gets so excited, he's practically licking his lips off of getting a Netflix deal. And then the craziest part about it is the one show that they have where like Netflix execs are in the fucking audience, when the crowd boos the Netflix execs, Kill Tony, fucking Tony Hinchcliffe, first fucking person to get on the mic and try to do damage control. You guys are going to fuck up our multi-million-dollar deal. Huh? What are you doing? You know, it's like crazy how much they all do this. Every single one of them. If they ain't doing it, trust me, they're gonna. If you got a favorite show and it's popular, you just wait.
But instead of running his own show, he still partnered with the tech establishment. He and all the cultists are connected to the biggest corporations on Earth, but still they maintain a facade of being independent DIY artists. As we all know, Joe got in tight with the U.S. regime and became the government's own comedy czar. The regime's comedy puppet dictator, like comedy Lukashenko. He's now literally an extension of the U.S. government. But inside the reality of the mothership cult, he's still the anti-mainstream underdog. And obviously this makes no sense at all, but because all this is taking place inside an anti-reality simulacrum, it somehow just works.
You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, you'd be in jail. Like that's great timing.
It's funny, you need at least the attitude of a comedian when you're doing this business.
It's the most dangerous
Yes,
business.
being president is the most dangerous.
Especially you. Imagine if there was assassination attempts on Biden.
Pillar 3, they are real comedians.
I wonder if Trump is one of the 250.
A special class of human, an elite artist class. Comedy is sacred. And the mothership is both a holy temple.
I was in the mothership last night, and that audience were like church.
And the center of the comedy universe.
The comedy mothership is the hub of comedy in the world. That's wild. Yeah.
It's comedy mecca. The green room is the Kaaba, the house of God. Being granted entry is considered one of the cult's highest honors.
We laugh in that green room, and the best thing about the green room is how restrictive it is. You know, that you just can't go in there.
The comedy czar considers his entry into comedy a religious experience. That transformative moment where he was converted, baptized by Mitzi Shore, and transcended from a civilian into a real comedian.
I remember thinking, I gotta get to the comedy store. It was like,
it's Mecca.
It was Mecca. It was a religious call. I mean, if there was anything like that in my life, that was it. She passed me as a non-paid regular after my first audition. I couldn't sleep that night. I'm a real comedian. I'm a real comedian.
Dear Leader's beloved Saint Mitzi must be revered and venerated by the cultists as their adopted spiritual deity. There's this guy here, Jelly Roll.
Yo, this clip is actually fucking insane, dude. Hold on, dude. Hold the phone. I didn't know Elephant Graveyard had it like that. I did not know Elephant Graveyard had it like that. Yo, I've covered this clip on the show too, dude. Dude, in this clip, somebody ended up sending me this clip. It was the link was from fucking xvideos.com. Sussy, right? To get a Jelly Roll clip sourced from xvideos.com, right? And that Jelly Roll is supposed to be like the most wholesome fucking dude in country music and rap and whatever else music he fucking does, right? You think that. Dude, this is a clip from like Jelly Roll TV, from like a website of his before he became famous. Dude, in this clip, there's a girl just getting like fucked in front of everybody on the side of a fucking fence at like a Juggalo concert, bro. And Jelly Roll's sitting there, just, you know, hanging out. Late soundboard today. Jelly Roll's just sitting there like hanging out. He's like, yo, y'all got to get this on film. Dude, who knows what kind of drugs this girl is on during this whole ordeal? Who knows if this girl's even in the right state of mind while she's getting railed against some fence in the goddamn clip, right? He goes, y'all got to put this on my goddamn website, Jelly Roll TV, y'all. Dude, I can't believe Elephant Graveyard had that clip, dude. I'd never seen that clip on anything else aside from Red Bar. It was such an insane clip that I was like, dude, even though Red Bar's covered it before, I have to show people about this. This is insane. Because I feel like the world has to know. The world has to know. Jelly Roll is a fake fucking nice guy. I'll say it over and over and over again till I'm blue in the goddamn face. And I've been looking for it. I can't find it. But there's this clip of Jelly Roll right now circulating around of him talking about himself. He's talking about this. About how he just got out of a shoe store where he fucking yelled at every single employee in the bitch, freaking out on them, threatening them and shit in front of everyone. Because the guy wouldn't help the Jelly Roll's mom because he needed to go on break or some shit. It's like, dude, what the fuck is even happening? You know? I get real passionate about some Jelly Roll.
As their adopted spiritual deity. There's this guy here, Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll TV.
He's not a comic, he's a singer.
Yo, I wish I could show you guys that whole clip.
Cult by carefully
I might have that I might have it in my notes. Hold up 1 second, dude. I might have that in my notes because when I covered it on the show, the thing about that was I blurred the clip so that I could show it on fucking YouTube. So, like, I might have the clip. Do I have the clip? Let's see. Do I have the... Oh, my God, I have the clip. Wait a minute. Let me show you guys where this Jelly Roll clip came from, all right? If you're one of the 6 lucky watchers right now, you know, look at this shit. This is actually insanity, bro. Let's see if we can... So you can't see it. Obviously, I had to blur it so that this is YouTube safe. But these are 2 human bodies, right? And it's just some girl just getting railed out against the goddamn fence, right? Right here. Look, right there's Jelly Roll. He's just hanging out in the crowd, bro. Everybody, yo, we're all hanging out, bro. You gotta fuck that bitch. Fuck that. So Jelly Roll is just hanging out in the goddamn crowd right now, while some girl, high on God knows what, is just getting railed out at a fucking Juggalo concert in front of everyone, right? This is a sticky situation, in my opinion. Right here. Look at Jelly Roll. Has to be YouTube safe. Has to be YouTube safe. Look, now let's go just a little bit more forward. You're going to get the biggest jump scare you've ever seen. Watch this. Holy shit! Jelly Roll comes out of nowhere, right? Promoting his goddamn website. It's Jelly Roll TV, baby. Just watch that jump scare again. This is scarier than, like, the actual fuck. You know, you remember the old jump scare from, like, old YouTube viral, that it was like a car driving down like this windy hill, and someone would get like real into it and be like, what am I supposed to be looking at? And then all of a sudden it's like, like scares you. That's the same level of scared that I get when I see, every time I see this clip, I get scared.
General TV gathering the Juggalos. General TV gathering the Juggalos. Watch it.
Look, he said, Jelly Roll TV is gathering the Juggalos. Watch this. Watch this. He's saying watch this as if, like, he's the one making it happen. As if he's the one smashing their 2 bodies together like this. Look, someone writes, Jelly Roll got some skeletons in his closet. I couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Let's give it up. Dude, Anonymous is in the chat. I didn't even know I was under surveillance like that. Anonymous in the chat. Dropping heat, bro. He's dropping heat. This guy, he's saying this shit as if he's the one making it happen. Jelly Roll TV, watch these 2 fuck. Watch this girl get raped unknowingly because she's on so many goddamn drugs. It's Jelly Roll TV.
Jelly Roll TV gathering Juggalos. Watch it.
Terrible.
Hey, man.
Terrible.
World Star Hip Hop, man. Jelly Roll TV gathering Juggalos.
World Star Hip Hop, Jelly Roll TV is gathering Juggalos. Look at this, dude. The Big Sal story, dude. This is it. He's all just like promoting his music. This is the same guy that you know and love. This is the same fat fuck that gets on the fucking, like, any award show. He's crying. Oh, it took me so much to get here. I'm so lucky that I could call all you people fans. I'm such a fat fuck. And now he's all skinny and shit, and he's ready to just, you know, take on this whole persona of being an asshole. This is how it happens, you know? I'm happy that Elephant Graveyard had that. No, we're not saving this. Ain't saving nothing. Delete the goddamn copy. All right, let's go back to some Elephant Graveyard, dude. I need to hear more about the simulacrum. I can't believe he had this Jelly Roll clip.
Not a comic, he's a singer, but he has successfully joined the mothership cult by carefully studying and obeying the pillars. Here he is performing for Dear Leader, showing his reverence for Saint Mitzi, crying about praising a woman he's never met.
Speaking of Mitzi's, I was so inspired by the way the mothership has Mitzi's, and it's like an honor to Mitzi. Touched my soul in such a way. What y'all have created there is spreading on to. Damn, you almost got me emotional talking about a woman I never even met. I just know she did so much for you.
Doing stand-up is.
That's how you know it's fake. That's how you know it's fake. Oh, I'm getting emotional about a woman I never even met. I know how much she means to you, Joe. Shut the fuck up, bro. Like, you cannot trust people like this. I'm telling you this now. And for your own good, you should trust me. Okay?
Not a woman I never even met. I just know she did so much for you.
Doing stand-up is a transcendent spiritual experience that only real comics will ever be able to tap into.
But Richard Dawkins is never killed on stage. He doesn't know the connection between human beings that comes through laughter.
Yo, Joe's never killed on stage either. Boom. Roasted. Boom, roasted.
Never killed on stage. He doesn't know the connection between human beings that comes through laughter and joy in that way.
Walk to the women's locker room with a heart.
Oh.
Dear Leader draws a stark distinction between the comedian class and what he calls civilians, regular guys, lower tier humans. This Hassan guy explains some of the differences between higher tier humans, comedians, and the lower tier average human, and how difficult it can be to even be around such low tier guys.
Our ability to talk to literally anyone is a skill set. Like,
totally.
Do you ever have to, when you go to like a party with your ladies' work friends?
Yes.
And you're like, bro, there are fucking just goobers out here. Yeah, just office banter. I was at a work thing with my wife. We're like in a building, and outside the window, it looked like someone was about to jump off.
Oh, wow.
The guy goes, he goes like, is that guy like, is he walking on the roof? I go, the part didn't go his way, so he's just.
Pillar 4, they are brave truth tellers and victims of an authoritarian mob of censors. They need to be seen as oppressed victims so they can appear as heroes for standing up to the threat. Inside their simulacrum, they are the modern-day incarnations of guys like Lenny Bruce, Dick Gregory, and Mort Saul. Look them up.
We're drinking, my friends, in the Last Chance Saloon. What I'm saying on stage tonight is barely...
That's how you know Jimmy Carr sucks ass. Any comedian that you see with one of those fucking faggy little dainty like microphones, like that's a Matt Rife fucking move right there. That's a Matt Rife move, bro. That's how you know Jimmy Carr sucks cock.
In the Last Chance Saloon. What I'm saying on stage tonight is barely acceptable now. In 10 years' time, forget about it. You'll say, I saw a man and he stood on stage and he made light of serious situations. We used to call them jokes.
Kill him!
Us versus
Kill
that
him!
mentality is a hallmark of cult psychology.
Thank
Jim
you so
Jones
much,
fabricated threats
Elephant
like
Graveyard.
government persecution and fascist takeovers all the time, and he taught his followers that his temple was the only safe place from the dangerous and decaying outside world. The Heaven's Gate followers believed that they and the rest of humanity were under the control of deceptive lower-tier aliens called Luciferians, false gods who controlled Earth's religions, governments, and media, corrupting the minds of humans. The only way to escape the Luciferian threat was to submit to Doe, Sui out of this world, and get on that spaceship. This fosters paranoia and isolation, which helps bind the cultists together and keeps them fearful and loyal to the leader. The mothership comedy cult Toilet Piss Pipe employs the same psychological strategy. Like Heaven's Gate's Luciferians, the comedy piss cult also fabricated a make-believe enemy to set themselves apart from. And
That's like a fucking standard Kill Tony fan. It's just like a fucking dumbass person sitting there chewing straw, like making weird ass noises and shit. They're going "Duh," while sitting there with their mouths open in the middle of the rain, while William Montgomery goes up and goes, "Isn't that crazy?" And then everybody goes, "Oh my god." Martin Phillips up there going, "I'm fucking retarded." And everybody in the crowd is chewing on straw, just like this little goat.
blame for everything.
Woke. It's very dangerous.
A nebulous, undefined, and amorphous outgroup that is somehow both completely feckless and able to wield widespread domination over our entire society.
They're out of their f***ing mind. They want to force people to behave and think a very certain way. Well, they're just nuts.
He is terrified of a shadow, a construction in his mind formed by a social media feed.
You can never be woke enough. That's the problem. It keeps going. And if you get to the point where you agree to all these demands, it'll eventually get to straight white men are not allowed to talk.
Oh, no.
You're not allowed to go outside.
Damn it. Oh, please tell me you're joking.
I mean, I'm not joking.
Shit. Well, the good news is the comedy cult's here to save us all. Thank God. The mothership is their sanctuary where woke meets the wall.
In the comedy world, we say we're the last line of defense. We're the woke meets the wall. If you want to never make fun of marginalized groups, it's like, no.
In the Austin Hell Toilet,
what do you mean,
comedy is not funny. They know it doesn't hold up to criticism. So they need to pretend that the criticism is some kind of attack. Then they can all rally together to defend themselves from it. And to prevent the defensive line from breaking, followers are programmed to believe that they can't survive outside the cult.
One of the ways that I describe comics, I go, you're either like a village or an island. And villages do way better. An island is a man on his own out there that does his own shows and doesn't hang out with comics. If you didn't have any comics for friends, there's a lot of fucking sad people out there.
Yeah, no, don't be a cool island guy. Give yourself to the cult, migrate to that new reality, and you'll be able to achieve things you never thought possible. Because they aren't possible, really, unless you're doing it inside the simulacrum. But that's your new reality now, so that's okay. But don't ever make the mistake of going against the pillars or disrespecting the comedy's art.
No.
Or you'll be swiftly ejected from the group. It's back to classic reality for you.
You're gonna get more people that are very uncomfortable with their own lives and want to live a different life. Well, when you think about where this is all headed, there's only a few different directions that one could go to, and simulated reality is a big one. It's coming.
That's exactly like Joe Rogan. He is like the little, you put on the fucking They Live glasses and you watch the Joe Rogan Experience, you're like, holy shit, this is all right-wing propaganda. Oh, yeah, what does this say? Have you seen the new McDaniel video? No, I have not. I don't even know what McDaniel is. What the hell is McDaniel? Someone's going to have to explain McDaniel to me.
It's already here, and you're in it. We don't need to invent brain implants or anything like that. Our brains are already configured to live in artificial reality. All you need is a reason.
All you need is
If your career's
love.
about to expire because your entire fan base is headed to the glue factory, migrating to the simulacrum offers you access to a whole new, younger audience.
And I'm pretty emotional about the mothership. I think that the universe used you just to get me back out of this fucking hole that I was in. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know
If
what
you got anxiety about not being funny, you can eliminate that by knowing you can always just do a boring boilerplate TED Talk soapbox sermon about one of the pillars, and the cult followers will love it.
Apparently, I'm not very PC. I'm not one of those people who tries so fucking hard to like prove.
Bro, this guy looks like a lesbian woman. Okay? And then this guy inevitably evolved into the dainty microphone on the side of the mouth guy, just like Jimmy Carr. You trying to tell me Jimmy Carr ain't never sucked no dick? All right. Never migrate to the simulacrum. You can't migrate to the simulacrum. If you migrate to the simulacrum, you got to get out of there. Just like he said, Joe Rogan's a got to get out of there kind of guy. If you get in the simulacrum, that's when you got to get out of there.
I'm not one of those people who tries so fucking hard to like prove how woke what a good person. You know what I mean?
Dude, look at how Elephant Graveyard edited Matt Rife's hand, dude. That's actually really funny. Watch, as soon as his hand goes forward, it's like fucking twice the size it should be.
How woke.
Look at how
good
big his
person,
fucking
you know
hand
what
You don't even have to be a comic to join and reap the benefits of this simulacrum.
Oh,
There are many
shit.
cultists who work in other fields that personally interest the comedies are, like science.
I've been talking to scientists and doctors and biologists and virologists for months and months and months.
And if you're an academic guy rapidly approaching the end of your career,
This guy
and you're
sucks.
spiraling inside, because you're scared to
Weinstein.
die without leaving
Eric
behind
Weinstein.
that meaningful legacy you always dreamed about.
You know this question, like, what has Eric Weinstein ever done? I actually have been scared of this question. And I've lived afraid of my own story.
You can just pretend you're the new Einstein.
It's because he's never done anything. Eric Weinstein's the biggest fucking hack I've ever seen. This guy, like, just has read some shit on Wikipedia, recites it online, happens to be friends with Joe Rogan. Everybody thinks he's, like, the smartest fucking guy in the world. This guy sucks.
Create your own new theory of everything. Just write whatever you want.
There you go.
It doesn't matter.
What is this thing that you handed me? What is this?
It's the theory of everything.
Oh, it's the theory of everything.
Structure about a circle that nobody's ever seen that is at every point in space and time.
It doesn't matter that it doesn't make any sense in classic reality. In the simulacrum, the followers are so stupid that they won't know if it makes sense or not. They can't tell, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Exactly, dude. Couldn't have said it better myself. These guys, like, they explain shit in a way to where, like, you can't understand it, but it sounds smart, right? And even they probably can't understand it, but they're just good at explaining it, right? They go, yeah, it kind of makes sense. It makes sense to me. It should make sense to you. What are you, an idiot? And then all of a sudden, everybody goes, oh, yeah, it's like the smartest guy ever. It's all bullshit. I was listening to Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Matt McCusker said the most hot take ever. He said he doesn't even believe scientists. He's starting to believe they're all cap now. I'm with him. I ain't going to lie. I'm with the guy. I'm starting to believe that all science is bullshit. Because here's the thing. They could tell you, right? They could go like, yo, this is possible through science, right? You go prove it. I don't know. I wasn't there when they tested the shit. How am I supposed to know? What better way to enter the simulacrum than to believe in science, in my opinion, right? In my opinion. If you believe in science, you believe in the simulacrum. Because science is just bullshit. Were you there when it got tested? Were you there? Huh? Were you there when the hypothesis became a fucking law? Were you there? I don't think so. Test them all yourself. Come back to me then.
Spinning that circle over and over again.
Look at this. Dude, Eric Weinstein practically hands Joe a goddamn fleshlight. He goes, this is the theory of everything. Hands Joe a fleshlight. He goes, you fuck it. And then you bust a nut. It just helps you come to clarity with the universe.
Can't tell. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
You're spinning that circle over and over
It's
again.
a fucking
So this is an actual model of a gauge theoretic concept.
And since you got the Comedy Czar's endorsement, whatever you say is brilliant, even though they have no idea what you're even talking about.
Oh, shit. Imagine Eric Weinstein coming to your goddamn house, just handing you a fleshlight, going, this is the theory of everything, Joe. You're holding a model of the theory of everything. It's a fucking pocket pussy. He goes, I'm telling you, everything in the universe is in that thing, Joe. And you get it out by fucking the shit out of it.
Effectively will two hands into drawing each other into existence.
This seems pretty crazy, eh? Well, a while back, these Weinstein guys accidentally revealed the entire motivation behind their scheme.
When we do our homework and we discover something interesting and absolutely nobody else gets it, to you and me, that feels good. To know that you have achieved something and that nobody else can even recognize it gives you some sort of sense of how far.
Yo, when you put the two Weinstein brothers together next to each other, they look like the most hills have eyes motherfuckers I've ever seen in my entire life. Look at this shit, bro. They look like they were raised in the woods, like homeschooled on like a whole nother level. Like this is beyond. Like they were the type of shit that you would see in like a comedy movie where like a guy is homeschooled and his sex education teacher is like his mom. That's actually how it went down for the Weinsteins.
When we do our homework and we discover something interesting,
he looks like he has a
absolutely
couple
nobody
chromosomes
else gets it,
off.
To you and me, that feels good. To know that you have achieved something and that nobody else can even recognize it gives you some sort of sense of how far ahead you might be.
Remember,
to know that you've achieved something and nobody else can even recognize what you've achieved. It's bullshit. If nobody else can recognize it except for you, it's bullshit. That to me is a big indicator that the shit ain't real, right? It's only real to you. You might as well be schizophrenic.
Not a lie, if you believe it. Inside the simulacrum, you're now the genius you always wanted to be. And you can stop worrying about being a failure.
What made you want to do this?
When you ask why as a kid, what happens if you keep asking?
Great question.
You either end up in theoretical physics or an insane asylum. And so I just didn't stop.
If you want to become a stoic genius guru kind of guy who knows everything about life, a cold, logically calculated debate, God, but you're actually a hysterical, emotional baby, overwhelmed by everything, has no idea what's real, and can't discuss anything without spiraling out and melting down like a child.
I was addicted to Xanax because I'm a fucking baby.
Overwhelming.
Well, the simulacrum followers will pretend
I'm from California, but somehow I'm Scottish. Because I'm a fucking baby who is addicted to Xanax. My name is Jordan Peterson.
you're not doing all that stuff. And you can be that guru guy. You can get exposed in classic reality for claiming that the definition of belief is...
If you believe something, you stake your life on it.
So you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
While also getting caught completely
exactly what he
believing in
said.
Chinese involuntary human semen milking factories.
Jordan Peterson just unironically retweeted a video of a BDSM male milking dungeon in the UK, claimed to be footage of human rights abuses in China.
Does he think that the Chinese government has special facilities where men can go and have, like, their penises pumped?
I think he does. I think he does.
Which by his own logic means he would die for Chinese semen milking factories. Which ought to make a guy certifiably insane. But not in the simulacrum, where you'll remain the wise guru. Simulacrum migrants
God.
also gain access to the cult's Copadex, a reference guide of pre-made dogmatic copes, a virtually endless collection of excuses for anything you could possibly be criticized for. These copes are born inside Dear Leader's own brain and trickle down throughout the simulacrum for all to use.
How come you're not looking at your own self with the same scrutiny that you look at this extremely successful person?
Yeah.
It's because you're jealous.
So many people hate me for really no reason, and it really made me realize that, like, people only hate somebody they're jealous of.
You know, like, people don't like him because, you know, whether you judge his comedy or judge his podcast or judge whether, you also have to judge how he looks, and he's a beautiful man, built like a Adonis. It really makes people uncomfortable, me included. I'm his friend.
And people don't want to laugh at, like, physically attractive people. Like, you don't want to walk on stage and have people looking at your arms rather than listening to your jokes.
And when you can't get a date and nobody wants to you, because statistically nobody wants to date people who live in your hyper-real simulacrum, you can ease your inner turmoil by uttering the sacred comedy cult mantra.
It's definitely...
Yo, Red Flags listens to Joe Rogan is probably the craziest thing I've ever heard. That's actually a good one. I should put that on my dating profile. Go Red Flags. If she listens to Joe Rogan unironically, then she a hoe. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Not me. I think it's everybody else.
Oh.
So, as you've seen with all this scientific evidence and logic here, these facts, joining the comedy cult can offer tremendous opportunities. Submit to the leader. Perform your sui. Become a new guy if you have to. Migrate into the simulacrum. And help uphold its supportive pillars. That's the blueprint, and a lot of guys are on that path. But there's one guy who has followed the path of Dear Leader better than anyone. His name is Tony Hinch.
Ho, 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 ho. Ho, ho, ho. Ho. Hold on, because that is scary as fuck. All right, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I only got so much more left in me. I don't know if Tony Hinchcliffe is like the rest of it. Hopefully it's not the whole half hour. We're going to try to get through the Tony Hinchcliffe part, and then I got to call it a night. I am getting so tired, and I'm hungry. You know, I've been smoking a lot of quote-unquote yerb on this motherfucker, right? It's all legal. THCA. Birdman jump scare, he said. Oh, my God. What the fuck? Tony Hinchcliffe.
I'm such a big deal. We just signed another Netflix and we're going to play Madison Square Garden this Saturday. Who's ready for the best fucking night of your life?
Tony Hinchcliffe, man. Let's give it up for Tony Hinchcliffe.
Is Tony Hinch.
Oh,
sorry.
Got me again.
Getting to this.
Got me again.
You know we try to be positive on here, but sometimes you got to examine some real dark, depressing shit. This guy exemplifies what commitment to the cult and its tenets can offer in return. His origin story is eerily similar to the comedy's are.
The reason,
ironically enough, these are clips from one of Tony Hinchcliffe's new specials. Oh, well, I actually think it's the newest special that he's got. Literally titled Garbage. It's titled Garbage. The thing was actually garbage. It was actually garbage. You should go back and listen to it. It's like 28 minutes long.
why I became a martial arts champion, because I was being picked on all the time. Right. Kids were always f***ing with me. I was like, I don't like this. I'm like, so I'm going to become what I'm terrified of.
As a little boy, Tony was also getting bullied every day. He was walking around terrified.
It's a lot of fear, a lot of danger. And my whole way of handling that is if anybody ever tried anything with me, I would just make fun of them.
So he became what he feared the most. A big dumb asshole, a bully. But I don't know what kind of protection it provided because he says here that his jokes just led to him being punched in the face.
One of my good friends, I made fun of him because his grandma walked him out to the bus stop. He punched me right in the face.
And just like the comedies are, and almost all the guys in this comedy cult, he had a real bad dad.
I didn't have like a dad to complain or to go to the parent-teacher meetings.
So while he was getting pounded in the head every day for being a big dumb asshole, his bad dad pieced out and went and got remarried. Which is fine, whatever, it happens. But this bad dad had decided to keep Tony's entire existence a complete secret to his new wife and family.
My mom told me that my dad travels a lot, my dad works a lot. I mentioned to my mom, I go, hey, Dad's car is in this one house's driveway a lot. My mom like turned pale white. She told me everything that it's a lot. That's how someone like me gets made.
So Tony ran away, and like many before him, his gaping dad hole in quest for external validation took him to the mecca of insecurity, Hollywood. He soon found his way to the Comedy Store, got a job answering the phone or cleaning toilets or whatever, and he found something he probably didn't expect, a new dad. He started opening up.
Yeah, you want to see Tony in his Comedy Store days? I got a clip of that too. You're gonna love this one. Check this one out. Good old Tony Hinchcliffe. Let's see if we can get this open wide only, right? Let's open the attachment. There we go. Look at how Tony used to look. I gotta escape this one. Look at how Tony used to look back in the day. We come a long way. Look, there goes Tony right there, sucking a little cack. You know what I mean? This is from when he used to be like a door guy over at the Comedy Store. Look at him. Long-ass, nappy hair. Got a headband in that bitch. You trying to tell me this guy ain't gay? You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't know how many times I got to say it. Ain't nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing ever wrong with sucking a little cack on the side. You know? You just got to come to grips with the shit. Tony always, all the time, he's like leaning into this gay shit, but he does it in a way to where he goes, yeah, I'm gay. You know, you guys got one. You know, you got me. No, you gay. You gay. Tony gay. You know, look at it. Look at that. Look at this whole fucking thing going on here. Tony, he looks like a crackhead. I didn't know they paid you in crack over at the goddamn, what is that, the Comedy Store. I didn't know they sold crack over at the Comedy Store.
Is this the gay look? Is this gay you? Is this gay you? Is that gay you? We done followed Tony for a long way, the human headshot, and now we done seen how he gets his way through Hollywood. Look at that headband.
Tony's like on some Andy level or Andy Dick level shit right now. Look at this. He looks like he was hanging around with Andy Dick all night.
You got anything you want to say to the American public? Okay, we're gone.
Other than I can prove that I'm actually straight.
Whoa, he can prove he's actually straight. You're going to prove to us you're actually straight. Okay, let's hear that one more time. I want to hear that. Just so that, you know, it can appease the court. Yeah, let's go back a little bit further. I got to hear that.
Other than I can prove to you that I'm actually straight.
Okay, we're gone.
Other than I can prove that I'm actually straight.
Okay.
Random girl.
Hey, you got a
Listen, kissing Esther Povitsky doesn't prove that you're straight, bro. As a matter of fact, it might prove the opposite. It might prove that you actually like kissing little boys. Because that's essentially what Esther Povitsky is. Povitsky, I don't know how to say it. She has like almost the same name as Tom Segura's wife. I always get confused by the two. You know, you kissing this woman, quote unquote, doesn't prove nothing to me.
Random girl.
Hey, you got to fondle a little bit. Got to fondle if you're really straight.
Look, you see the actual boyfriend was going in for the kiss behind him. Tony was about to react to that. Tony was about to turn around and go, mwah. You know? Yeah. Look, you see that? Look at him. Oh, Tony's going to react to it. The guy got out just in time. Tony was actually about to kiss that man. Look at this. Straight as cooked spaghetti, this guy says. You got him. I'm not going to lie. You roasted him. Bam, roasted. Straight as cooked spaghetti. Okay. This guy's about to just get his pink t-shirt. Yeah, okay. Look at that. One more time. Look at that. Look, Tony wants it, staring into him, lovingly like this. Tony's like, can I borrow some sugar, my neighbor, please? Oh, no.
Handle if you're really straight, man.
Look, and this is how, Jesus Christ, dude, this is what Tony looked like back in the day? Ain't no goddamn way. Ain't no goddamn way. Okay.
For Dad on tour and got his first taste of that long sought after external validation from his audience. But it was a lot of work. Too much work, really. He thought, what if there's a way to get even more laughs while doing even less work, while also being able to satisfy his sadistic compulsions? So he started his own show, Kill Tony, his ultimate scheme.
Guys, give it up for Tony Hinchcliffe.
Generally speaking, I try to separate the scheme from the schemer.
God
Appreciate the beauty of a good scheme. And it's a brilliant
Look like
scheme,
Andrew
it really
Schultz.
is. How it works is his show allows him to be on stage at all times, getting attention without having to do anything at all, really. If the show is ever funny, it's because of the guests. He'll brag about how funny this Trump-Biden episode was, but that was these guys who made it funny.
Come on, huh? Come on.
But since reality can be whatever he wants it to be, Tony can easily pretend that the laughs the show generates are all actually for him.
3 times you got married.
Honestly, that's not that bad.
What did Tony even do? Nothing really. A few snide remarks here and there and just basic MC duties. The show is abuse, disguised as comedy. Tony took this idea from the world of professional wrestling. What makes pro wrestling so compelling is the concept of kayfabe, a collective suspension of disbelief, maintaining the illusion that the characters, the fights, and the drama are all real. Kill Tony runs on comedy kayfabe, but Tony flipped it. Where wrestling is fun theater disguised as violence, Kill Tony is violence disguised as fun theater.
Very few people willing to admit that they miscarried. Was that a sad time for you?
It was the lowest point in my life.
Really?
Oh, he's calling in right now. We have word.
Despite all of them being followers of a comedy.
Imagine thinking that that's funny, dude. Imagine thinking that that's funny, bro. With the boys. Galactus with the boys, bro. You didn't think I was going to see that, did you? You're coming in at the end, too, man. That sucks. I got a little bit more time, no, don't worry. But it's like crazy, this Kill Tony shit. They always want to take it to like this extreme level, thinking that it's going to be the most hilarious shit in the world, right? And you know, it's funny, nowadays, people are starting to think that like, well, you know, Austin comedy, that shit's actually like too edgy now, you know? And it's not even like too edgy to where people are thinking it's like offensive, right? It's more or less like too edgy to where people are like, it's almost like hack now to like make these crazy ass edgy jokes. I'm almost getting to the point to where like I'm about to like not even make any racist jokes anymore on the show. No more jokes about Jews, none of that shit. You know, it's too hack. I don't want to be hack. You know, I'm gonna start covering myself on the show, so we got to try to come up with something new. You know what I mean? Maybe next we start making fun of like Cambodians or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe we could just make fun of Puerto Ricans. I'm Puerto Rican. I got the inside scoop. You know what I mean? But it's just starting to get like too hacky to kind of like just make these weird ass, you know, edgy ass jokes. You know, you go to Austin, Texas, you go to Kill Tony, somebody goes up there and goes, yo, black guys and watermelon. Everybody's like, oh shit, that's the funniest thing I ever heard. You know, it's like, bro, come on, man. Really?
Cult, no, they're all miserable.
I'm encouraging you to quit right now. I think when you find that job, I think you should quit. I don't see it happening for you. Eleanor, you knew me when I was 24. I was already 2 years
Right,
into
but you're not autistic.
Stand over there by the red X. You're really getting a little close. Nope, the other direction, AJ. Thank you.
Kill Tony is supported by the same pillars as the broader Austin comedy colon
Look at that.
Which,
Louis J.
as we've
Gomez.
proven, are all complete
Filling up
inversions of
William
classic
Montgomery
reality.
like that.
Tony is the megalomaniacal dictator.
Louis J.
who
Gomez
must
gay.
be submitted to and respected. He is a roast god. Comedy Czar proclaims that Tony is the greatest roast comedian alive. And if that idea is ever threatened,
Look.
he loses his mind. He got very
Galactus says, let's make fun of Dagestan. What, are you trying to get us all killed? Everyone in Dagestan's like a fucking MMA champion. Isn't that where fucking the kebab guy came from? Kebab? You know? The one who fought McGregor?
Set when this Jeremiah guy was getting too many laughs roasting the roast master.
You don't do that.
You don't do that.
Oh, no, never, never.
Why not?
Against the rules.
This guy looks bi. Bye.
Oh, you.
Takes one to know one.
Yes. Go have your magic moment. This is the biggest thing in your career. Go do it. Go get it. Go get it. Is that a school bus attached to your face?
This is the biggest thing in your career. Look, Tony gets a little bit of roast. Tony gets a little flame put to him. And he wants to take, and he does that all the time. Tony will go on like Legion of Skanks and be like, it's nice to come back to this shithole, you know, here in New York after I just got done doing arenas with my show, you know? We're selling out the mothership every night, millions of people watching. And I'm here at Legion of Skanks with the little people. Yeah, y'all should all applaud me.
You flaming homosexual. Okay. Takes one to know one.
Yep.
He allegedly cemented his title with this performance at the Tom Brady roast in 2024. If you actually listen to his jokes, they're, I don't know, they're really just okay.
Tom Brady, why do you look like a gay Tom Brady?
But his fellow comedy cultists on stage help sell them and show you how to react. This is straight out of pro wrestling. They all sell the joke in the same way a wrestler sells his opponent's attack.
Yep.
This joke here got a huge reaction. People in the Austin Simulacrum were literally talking about it for days.
Bert Kreischer is a king. He looks like if the Tiger King and the Liver King only ate Burger King. And
Look, Bert's mouthing the joke. Bert is mouthing the joke. He like knows the joke. That's why you can't invite Bert to the party, bro. You cannot invite Bert to the party. All right? You just can't. All right? 4 top Dagestans got KO'd by 2 Latin Americans and 2 white Americans in the last couple months. That's because Puerto Ricans are the shit, bro. I'm sorry to say. You give it up for us, bro. We taking over, bro. I can't wait for the time where Puerto Ricans become the new Jews and we start taking over the world. You know? Everything is run by us. The banks, the whole shit. Yeah, imagine a Puerto Rican being in charge of the bank. Easiest way to bankrupt the bank. No, but look, these comedians do this shit all the goddamn time. I used to like film like comedy shows for certain comedians in my area, you know? And the fucking crazy thing is, you go to these things, right? And the people that like run them, they want the people in the crowd to laugh, right? So the guy who like invited me to go film these things, who was running it, would be like mixing himself into the crowd and laughing as hysterically as he possibly could. And I get it. You're trying to help out your fellow brethren, but the shit, I'm telling you, this guy was so blatant with it. It was like anyone in the audience, which it was mostly like restaurants that they were doing this shit at. People like trying to eat their food. And some guy's up there like, yo, isn't it crazy how like nasty your cat's asshole looks, right? Some guy's like eating a steak. You know, and then the dude running the shit is in the background going, and you're like, whoa, dude, calm the shit down. And this is what this Elephant Graveyard dude is talking about now. These guys are doing the same shit for Tony. They're doing the same shit.
This is straight out of pro wrestling. They all sell the joke in the same way a wrestler sells his opponent's attack. This joke here got a huge reaction. People in the Austin Simulacrum were literally talking about it for days.
Andrew's like, job well done.
He looks like if the Tiger King and the Liver King only ate Burger King and had a liver that looked like Martin Luther King got beat up by Rodney King.
And I'm sitting here over and over again hearing how brilliant this was. Just feeling completely bamboozled. Because I already heard this joke on another roast 10 years ago.
If you heard the joke so much that you memorized it, that you're wording it as the guy saying it, I promise you, coming from someone who's produced shit in the past, if you said it over and over again, if you've edited anything and you've watched it over and over again, it's the same concept. Same concept. It ain't funny to you no more. By the time you memorized it, it ain't funny to you no more. If you can recite it as it's being said, trust me, the laugh is fake.
Lisa, Larry King, Don King, Rodney King, and Billie Jean King in the Burger King bathroom.
Tony also got a huge buzz after he did this infamous joke roasting
Tony
Puerto
stole
Rico.
the joke from Snoop Dogg. Imagine being such a hack, you had to steal a joke from Snoop Dogg.
Already heard this joke on another roast 10 years ago.
Lisa, Larry King, Don King, Rodney King, and Billie Jean King in a Burger King bathroom.
Tony also got a huge buzz after he
Look at
did
that.
this infamous joke roasting Puerto Rico.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Hey, hey.
Again, I'm just confused.
Canceled. Yo, chill on that shit. We just got done talking to Puerto Ricans are knocking out fucking kebabs in Dagestan, bro. You need to chill with that shit.
Confused because it was even better when this guy Dylan Jarbo did it on Kill Tony back in 2021.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's currently a 500-mile peninsula of trash in the Atlantic Ocean, and I used to live there. It's called Florida.
Oh yeah, gonna write that.
Tony, make sure I write it down for when I perform in front of Trump.
One down. I did like this joke he did about how murderers never seem to dig deep enough graves.
I know how to get away with murder now. Because I know where everybody that gets caught always f***s up. Yeah, they always get a little lazy around burial time. You know what I never see on those crime shows? The body was discovered after being buried 75 feet deep in the ground.
Until I realized it was just a cover of a Norm Macdonald joke.
Like, these serial killers are supposed to be so shrewd and cunning, but then when it comes time for the grave, they get a little hasty, you know? And I would never, ever kill a lady in cold blood. But if I did, I would take her body to the woods and bury her in a very, very, very deep grave.
I'd rather listen to the proper original, personally. But what do I know? And yeah, some people will say it's easy to arrive at similar joke concepts, but it's Norm Macdonald, for Christ's sake. It'd be like a musician putting this riff in their song, then being like, hey, I didn't know. I just arrived at a similar concept, I guess. But again, this is hyper-reality. Nothing has to make sense from out here in classic reality. Here's Tony without the team of writers and a teleprompter, put on the spot when Bill Maher requests a roasting.
No crowd work on you.
No, come on, do some crowd work. Ask me where I'm from.
Where are you from?
New Jersey. Come on.
What, you got nothing? You got nothing for New Jersey, Tony? I covered this episode too. This shit was rough, bro. This was basically Tony spilling his guts to Bill Maher about how he wanted Trump to like him. How that's the only reason he did that whole fucking rally where he got in trouble for the Puerto Rico joke.
I did it for free because I wanted Trump to like me.
I'm telling you, he almost said, I'm obviously being hyperbolic about the shit, but he essentially says that in the middle of the fucking Bill Maher podcast. It's actually crazy.
There's a slow pitch down the middle of the plate, bro. New Jersey?
That is a shithole. Indeed.
Well, come on, you could do better than what you're famous.
Just
He
like the
can.
Comedy Czar tells the mothership cult, Tony also tells his flock that they are under attack by powerful forces.
Free speech is under attack, people. I host a show, and each week I get updates what words we're allowed to use and not use anymore. It's happening right now the past few years.
Also bullshit. Did you know that? Every single word that they bleep, you know, and a lot of your favorite podcasts do this. A lot of your favorite podcasts do this. They all like bleep an assload of different curse words in their podcast. You know what's nuts? YouTube ain't demonetizing people, bro. Like you know how many, I say every other word in my goddamn show is the word rape. I was never getting demonetized off the shit, right? It's just not happening. You know, they might if you say it a little too much in like a short span of time or something like that. But to be like, we're comedians, we're the woke meets the wall, and then you're censoring your entire comedy show. You're bleeping out words like retard and fag. You know, something like maybe the N-word or something, I guess maybe I could see that. It's like that's like a very offensive and cutting word. That word will cut through a goddamn conversation, right? But like, it's like, even then, you're still kind of like going against your principles. If you're sitting there going, we're comedians, we're supposed to be allowed to say whatever we want because we're joking, then you shouldn't be bleeping anything in your goddamn shit. And yeah, YouTube might talk to you and go, these are the words that might get you demonetized. They're not saying that you can't put the show up. They're just saying we won't pay you ads on it because advertisers don't want to be associated with that shit. What, you're not getting enough money from the goddamn ads that you're making Heidi sit in the background of? You know, the ads where Heidi's sitting in the background half naked looking like a hostage, and you're sitting there going, Tacova shoes. I've never worn them before, but I'll sell them to you. You know, It's like, that's not enough money for you? You need the AdSense money too? Don't bleep the shit. He's a liar. YouTube is not saying you can't post anything. They're just saying you ain't going to get paid for it. It's freedom of speech, not freedom to get paid.
Attack people. I host a show, and each week I get updates what words we're allowed to use and not use anymore. It's happening right now the past few years. It's a real thing.
He explains here that the reason he chose a political side was because the other side was supposedly censoring him. Tony twists his personal choice of opting for YouTube ad revenue over free expression as an attack from the enemy mob.
I've never considered myself a very political guy. We found out from YouTube that there's new words that they want us to censor.
Another
new
lie.
Words that you have to bleep out. Or
No.
You don't make money anymore.
Oh, you don't make
So
money.
I've
Okay,
become-
finally the truth. Finally the truth.
You gotta bleep the words or you don't make money anymore.
So then you're selling out, is what you're saying. That's like literally the definition of selling out. If you're doing something in your career strictly for the money, something that is against your principles, strictly for the money, that's like the definition of selling out, right? Like if I had like some big fucking vendetta against self-help and therapy, right? And then you tuned in next week and there were 3 different ad spots in my show for fucking BetterHelp, I would hope that you have a problem with that. I would pray to God that you have a fucking problem with that, right? So to sit there and say YouTube is making us censor words. They're making you censor words. Okay, so how are they making you do it? Oh, well, they're making us bleep it out or else they won't pay us. Then they're not making you do shit. They're giving you the option. They're saying, hey, you can bleep the words out and get paid, or you can not bleep them out and not get paid. That's a choice. Nobody's making you do shit, so you're selling out.
The reason he chose a political side was because the other side was supposedly censoring him. Tony twists his personal choice of opting for YouTube ad revenue over free expression as an attack from the enemy mob.
I've never considered myself a very political guy. We found out from YouTube that there's new words that they want us to censor. New words that you have to bleep out or you don't make money anymore. So I've become like a free speech angry guy.
He became a free speech guy by
Free
becoming
speech
a
angry
censorship guy.
Look, free speech angry guy. Look, Anonymous in the chat. Damn, he's a sellout and a joke thief. Fucking boom, roasted. God damn. This guy's like Carlos Mencia. Except you don't get the funny Mexican jokes, you know, because when he makes them, they're racist. You know, when Carlos makes them, they're cool.
Censoring himself to get that paycheck as if the Netflix deal wasn't enough.
That's what Kill Tony is. There's no business element behind it. There's no networks.
Oh, there isn't? Look, I'm going to move. I moved my microphone so that you guys could actually read that. Look at what it says. Wait until you see the deal me and Netflix are about to make. It's only comparable to the Rogan Spotify deal. I mean, come on. That's selling out. You talking about how you don't need the goddamn corporations, how you don't need the fucking big guys, you know, the studios in Hollywood. I mean, Netflix is as Hollywood as it gets. Netflix is Hollywood now. And whether you like it or not, Netflix is essentially cable. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you guys. If you are watching something, I don't give a fuck if it's off the internet. If it comes from the stream, I don't care. If you're watching something and it's got commercials in it, you are watching cable. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you this. You're watching cable. If you're watching Netflix and it has commercials, you're watching cable. And if you got to upgrade for that, that's fucking nuts. Isn't that crazy? Everyone becomes the thing that they sought out to destroy. Netflix was anti-commercial. That was the whole thing. Now they got commercials. Tony, we do it all ourselves. We're independent. Now look at him. Wait until you see the deal we're about to sign with Netflix. Glock, 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 glock.
That's the kind of backwards logic that only works inside this comedy simulacrum.
All this while he's wearing a goddamn Thriller jacket. Boom, 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 boom.
Just an incredible example of the ability these cultists have to bend reality. The show is sold as a chance to transcend the rungs of human existence to that higher level. to a high-tier real comedian.
That you are indeed the newest golden ticket winner.
But what it actually is a multi-level comedy scheme, exploiting people's hopes of getting the hell out of their lives.
Yo, if you line up the Kill Tony golden ticket winners, it looks like the retarded Avengers or something. It's like a blind guy, a guy with like cerebral palsy, a girl in a wheelchair, you know, Cam Patterson, who's like, I don't know, he's black. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like if you just line them all up, like you watch like the Killers that Kill Tony tour, you see one of the posters for that, you're like, holy shit. Looks like a gang of like fucking Make-A-Wish kids all got their one chance to be on the comedy stage. You're like, I gotta pay for this shit. It's crazy. There's this many examples of Tony stealing jokes, and Joe, still have never said what Carlos stole. That, you know what? That's actually kind of true. Like, actually, I've never thought about that until literally right now. Let's give it up for Ben Gonzo, coming in here with a good point. You know, I've actually never thought about that until now. Joe has literally accused Carlos of stealing like so much shit, but Joe has never mentioned what Carlos has stole. I've seen Ari Shaffir being on stage and being like, no, you stole a joke from me. I was doing that joke when we were on tour, bro. I was like opening for you. I've never actually heard Joe provide any evidence about what jokes were stolen from Joe. I've never heard that. Joe's just the only guy that made like a huge deal out of it. It's actually a very good point. I like that.
Multi-level comedy scheme, exploiting people's hopes of getting the hell out of their lives, and funneling money up to the top of the comedy pyramid to the big man, the comedy czar, everyone involved taking a little piece of the pie on the way up. The vibe of the show is terribly depressing, like watching a bunch of demons torturing lost souls.
Look at it, boy, looking like he on trial for touching kids. He can't even say that. You look gay. Try to do better next time.
Look, I remember that episode with Tom Papa on it. Dude, that shit was sad. Tom Papa was like on the verge of having like a stroke. He was like going through like a dementia episode, like on the stage. And fucking David Lucas just pounding into him, bro. Everybody's like, leave him alone. He's already dead. And David Lucas just keeps going on him, dude. Tom Papa looks like the oldest man on stage. He has no idea where he's even at. But Dave Lucas just keeps hitting him with haymakers, dude. This shit was wild.
There will be no next segment. You're blacklisted. Go.
Anything that interrupts their sadistic ritual gets flushed right out of there. Even the great Ric Flair was shat upon just for daring to be real.
Oh, I'm a wrestling coach for a high school.
Oh my God, this is so boring. Holy shit. Ric Flair, can you please tell us a story?
Actually, to be honest with you, I respect that very much. My son was a great amateur wrestler. He died of a heroin overdose.
Oh.
In 2013. I don't hear that, but anybody that could take time away from their life to support kids from personal experience, and because I believe it in my heart.
Bro, they had to chop up everything Ric Flair said. Dude, this guy's drunk all the goddamn time. If you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. Type in, like, Ric Flair drunk Reddit in Google. There are people that will, like, legitimately post in, like, Miami, Florida, like, subreddits and shit and be like, I found Ric Flair just, like, on the side of the, like, sidewalk passed out. He had piss all over himself, throw up everywhere. Like, Ric Flair gets wild, bro. That's why he's so red. This guy is, like, just straight vodka. He's, like, literally pickling himself. Whitney Cummings likes to say that. I'm pickled. You know? It's like Ric Flair is legitimately turning himself into a pickle.
Tony supposedly reveres this guy.
A human living legend. Think, look at Tony. He's flabbergasted.
He's the man. He's literally the man. Like,
but in this context, it's all about Tony and maintaining his kayfabe.
Because I believe it in my heart.
Show's depressing, man.
You ever had Asian pussy?
I will never sign up to make fun of people that donate their time to making children better.
Maybe it's me, though. I don't know.
Damn, bro.
Maybe I am the asshole. I'm going to see what people are saying
Ric
about
Flair's
their
like,
recent
I'm getting
show
out of
in
here,
London.
getting drunk.
We got some
Fuck you
voicemail
guys.
here from a few...
Look, he said Pickle Rick, dude. That's actually not bad. I don't know why I didn't come up with that myself. I like this live shit. You guys are not... Yo, tell your friends. Gotta get some more people in this bitch. Pickle Rick. That's actually not bad at all.
Guys in attendance. Let me see what they're
Hell yeah.
saying.
I was stage right, and every scumbag up there booed non-stop for everything, and laughed when they got any reaction, or could make a comic react. Booze, fights, people up and down to get drinks or a sniff in the bathrooms, and people so fucked up they didn't know where their seats were.
Comedy is fun.
These three blokes dressed as cowboys were sitting at the back, throwing things and being loud by all accounts, but I just noticed when they threw something at the women in front of me. So I stood up and threw some sweets at them, and then I put my jumper on, walked up there and slapped one of the cowboy hats off their head.
I can't believe there's actually British people that have like a more annoying voice than Jimmy Carr. These guys are fucking diabolical, bro. I can't understand how this guy's like, oh, it's a fucking bloody mess in there, man. She went in there and she fucking smacked me yobbles. She had a cowboy hat on her head. I threw some sweets at her, mate. And then the next thing you know, she was sucking me cockles, mate.
Three of them had a good brawl, and I thought it went rather well. But afterwards, it turns out I had a couple of great big cuts on my head. So I'm not sure how that happened, because
What
their
is
punches
happening?
actually seemed very weak, and I didn't get any black eyes, bruises, or broke nose. Then I left the building sharpish and went home to bed. Did anyone see if they had any weapons? Because I've come away with some nasty lacerations that's going to scar me face.
That sounds like a comedy show to me. Good, good, good. But yeah, it's a toxic environment. That's why it was the perfect place for Tony to transition into his final new guy. That's why it's called Kill Tony. It's where the old original Tony went to die. He unveiled his fully transitioned self with his most recent comedy tweet thing. And that's why that is called Garbage. Tony in, garbage out. And this new Tony just seems even more pissed off. He seems to still be following in the comedy czar's footsteps, right off a cliff. But when a guy doesn't have a real male role model, and all he's got is the comedy czar, what else could you expect? And now he spends time on the show doing these deranged, awkward rants about whatever dumb shit most recently pissed him off. Just like Dad.
But I came back home because I faced anti-Semitism.
You know, I hear this, but it's kind of funny, because like if you make fun of an Italian, there's no word for that. If you make fun of everybody else, it's racist. Your people have a special word for racism. What do you think that means? If you take yourself out of the picture, what do you think about your people having a special word for just you? And what exactly did they say or do to you there?
Look at Harlan Williams. Harlan Williams fighting for his goddamn life. Harlan's like, man, I got like a PR agent and shit, man. Like, I can't be like just part of this stuff, Tony. Like, you're really putting me in like an awkward position here, man. Tony's sitting there like, isn't it crazy you guys have your own word for being fucking like weird looking people, like, or something? I don't know. Like, you can't just be like a normal racist guy. You have to add some extra shit to it. I don't even understand like what Tony expects this guy to say. Like, what do you say back to that? What do you think about your people having a special word for racism? You know, I'd be like, I don't know. It's pretty cool, I guess. What do you want? What else do you want me to say? Like, you want me to try to explain it or something? I don't fucking know. I didn't come up with the shit.
They said, like, go back to, you know, Poland, all the normal shit.
But you've never been to Poland?
No, my ancestry is Ukrainian.
Oh, wow. There's some uneducated idiots that are rooting for you now. Not realizing that that country's stealing our money.
Comedy show.
I'm a doctor.
What was your schooling like? Super Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh, I like this one. Tony, actually, I'm going to have to end it on this one. Look, Harland is so goated. Dude, the Sam Hyde episode with Harland, I covered that on the show, dude. That was actually pretty funny. I like a good Sam Hyde app, you know? Depending on the shit. It always depends on his antics, you know? But if he can get like 100 Indians on set when he did Matan Evans' podcast, I like that. Flipping Harlan's fucking whole set around, I like that. You know, it always depends. Look, this clip is nuts. We're going to end it on this one because I'm getting kind of tired. But, dude, Tony's legitimately about to tell this doctor that he knows more about medicine than she does. What the fuck?
A lot of people don't know this, but I study the Canadian healthcare system because they brag about how good it is. And I like to do my own research just to make sure that I live in the greatest country on planet Earth, and I do. But Canada does rides now for anybody that wants one. Am I correct?
No.
I know more about your system than you because I have a bit about it.
Hopefully you can tell by now that
I have a bit about it. Imagine that being all the scientific proof you need. I have a bit about it. I'm going to start using that for everything. Now, anytime somebody questions my integrity at all, I'm going to be like, I know that that's true because I have a bit about it. I'm sorry. You can't question what I'm having to say right now because I have a bit about it. Okay? You know? I have a bit about it. If Harlan Williams can't get anything funny out of being there, that says it all right there. Exactly. Harlan's a fucking one of those old school comedians. Harlan in the movie Half Baked, it's probably my favorite thing Harlan's ever been in. When he goes to that horse and he's like, "Hey girl, you hungry?" And the girl's like, "Fuck you, nigga." Like, that shit had me dying. Dude, I love that.
That right there is a guy who has fully migrated into a simulacrum. There really is something in the eyes, eh? Suey eyes. That's definitely a real thing.
Good old Tony.
It's hard to believe, but all this crazy...
Suey eyes, man. Tony, I can't believe... Imagine having the balls to tell a doctor that you know more about medicine than said doctor. Is that actually not nuts, dude? If that's not crazy, I really don't even know what is, to be honest. So I think that's going to do it for this smoke break. I guess we'll call these the smoke breaks. I don't know how frequent I'm going to do these things. I'm not going to lie to you. But I do appreciate all of you guys that came to hang out and get a little stony baloney with your boy. It's our first time watching Elephant Graveyard. I'm going to have to do some more boning up on this guy's content. Seems to have a pretty good grasp on these comedians, and I like getting different perspectives on the jamokes that we cover on the show. So, as always, I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Style, mega like.
Ooh, gotta turn that down. Ooh. All right, so yeah, thanks again for joining me. Hopefully, we can start doing these a lot more, maybe once every 2 weeks or maybe once a month, something like that. But as always, you can catch episodes of Lost Docs Media Wednesdays at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. 4 a.m. is when the audios drop, 4 p.m. is when the videos drop. Until next time, I bid you all good night, and I bid you all adieu. Later.
Vibe. Mega like vibe. Good vibe like style. 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 Mega like vibe.
Shaking your tongue out of your face. I'm out of control up in this place. Take it down, don't take it down. Now just hang it upside down. Want you, everybody wants you. Thought I had it figured out, now I don't even know how. Want you, everybody wants you. Now I'm the only one that's gonna tell you when to stop.
Vibe.